With Carrington Harrison on your home for Chiefs football.
Touchdown, Kansas City!
And your home for Royals baseball.
Fastball hit high in the air, deep left field, way gone into the bleachers. A two-run homer for Bobby Witt Jr.
Watch The Drive by subscribing on our YouTube channel or listen on demand with the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
This show is always going to stand on principles. Dippin' Dots are incredible. Red Lobster is the best restaurant that America has to offer, and baked beans are trash.
You're listening to Kansas City's FM sports station, 96.5 The Fan. Here's C-Dot.
Let's do this. Another day, another dollar, another edition of The Drive. You are listening to The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, 96.5thefan.com, and also the Odyssey app. My name is Carrington Harrison. Thrilled, excited, delighted to be here with you on this wonderful, wonderful Friday. And we have a lot to get into in today's show. As we are wrapping up the All-Star break, we are going to do something that maybe no sports talk show in this city has ever attempted to do before. We are going to have one guest that covers every professional team in the city. So if you're a K-State football fan, we got you today. Kansas basketball, we got you. Mizzou, Royals, Chiefs, we've got you covered today. We are going to talk about every single team that we have here in the Kansas City metropolitan area. That will be the open of the show as well. Rob also told me that there is an important soccer game tomorrow. No. That's Sunday. Tomorrow is the third place game. Rob, come to the mic. I know you're doing stuff. I know you're busy. Why is there a third place game in the World Cup? That's not American. You lost in the single elimination tournament. You lose. Good day, sir. Why are they playing a soccer game tomorrow to determine who is in third place? Do they give out some kind of bronze medal at the World Cup that we don't know anything about? Why are we having a game tomorrow between France and England? You're both losers. Go back to where you came from.
I don't personally like the third place game. I'll tell you this, if you're a Golden Boot bettor, those goals tomorrow do count. So
you need Mbappe to get going.
You need Mbappe to get going. Or you need, if you have Harry Kane, you need him to get going. I don't like the third place game, though. That's my 2 cents. I am not a third place game type of person.
So coming up in a little bit, we will start our journey and talking about every team and having a guest that covers every team in the Kansas City Metro. We're going to start with the Royals. They maybe need the most time and most attention of any of the area local teams. We'll get to that coming up in a bit. But before we do that, I need you guys to do me a couple of favors. Number one, I need you listening to The Drive each day at 2 o'clock right here on 96.5 The Fan. Number two, I need you to tell one person this weekend to check out the show. And number three, and most importantly, I need you to go stop by and see our friends over at the other place. They do karaoke on Fridays. If you've ever wanted to go to a place, get yourself a cold Miller Lite, some of the best pizza in the city, and you wanted to sing your heart out to the YMCA, what better place to do that tonight than with our fine friends over at the other place? Go stop in and go do a little bit of karaoke. So this is how I would like to begin today's show. I wrote down every team in the city, and I want to give you either a thought or a question or a take about each of those teams as we go through this journey over the next 4 hours. Why don't we start with the Kansas City Chiefs? I think we all will agree that they're the most popular team in the city. The Chiefs, to me, are in a very weird crossroad right now. There is no denying how successful they've been over the last 7 seasons. They've been to 5 Super Bowls. They've been to countless number of AFC championship games. They have first ballot Hall of Famers on their team. They have been the team of the 2020s. There's no doubt in my mind that that is the case, but they are in one of the more changing professions, and their sport, their business is a what have you done for me lately kind of league. It's been a while since the Chiefs have looked like the team of the decades. Since they got blown out in the Super Bowl against Philadelphia, they've taken a lot of hits. They've taken a noticeable step back, and it went from showing up like Larry Bird in the three-point contest and figuring out who was going to come in second to now, I'm not even sure if you're the best team in your division. This feels to me like do they still have it? Can they get back to where they were a couple of years ago? Maybe they do, and we end up discussing this team as a 12-6 team, 12-5 team that has legitimate Super Bowl aspirations. Maybe this is a little bit of a bridge year as you wait for some of your young guys to continue to develop. But you've already burned a year of Patrick Mahomes' prime last season, albeit with his injury. You weren't making the playoffs whether or not that had happened. Can they get back to where they've been the last couple of years? That's by far and away the biggest question with the Kansas City Chiefs. Rob, let's discuss this before we move on, and we'll talk a little college sports here in a bit. I just want to know where it went so wrong with the Royals. I don't know if we've been this wrong about the Royals since 2004. If you were around in 2003, the Royals really emerged out of nowhere. They had Tony Pena, and that was a team that really captured the imagination of the city. Fast forward to 2004, Fast forward to 2004. They pick up Juan Gonzalez in the offseason. They make a move here. They make a move in there. Optimism was through the roof for that team. That ended up being one of the worst teams in Royals history. I just want to know where we were so wrong, how we got it so wrong with the Royals this year. This was a team that had winning seasons in back-to-back years. This was a team that heading into the World Baseball Classic and coming out of the World Baseball Classic had a lot of promising young players. The excitement wasn't just coming from inside the house. It was coming from outside the house. Well, national people in the division. There was an expectation that the Royals were going to be competitive. They're tied for the worst record in the American League. How do we get it so wrong? How do we fix it? To me, is the conversation with the Kansas City Royals. All right, Rob, let's talk about your Kansas Jayhawks here. Let's talk about the football side and the basketball side. Let's start with basketball. It's funny because I think right now this is kind of a common theme amongst Kansas City sports is the bounce back. Can the Chiefs bounce back? Can the Royals bounce back to where they were a couple of seasons ago? Can Kansas basketball bounce back? Now, I'm not here painting you like all is lost and gloom and doom with Kansas basketball, but you would have to admit that the expectations that Kansas basketball fans have for their program, they have fallen very short of that these last 4 years or so. They have been way under that expectation. This is the KU team that once again has the number one overall recruit on their team. Bill is back and seems very passionate about coming back, very energized about coming back. Can they get back to where they're supposed to be? And you're competing with the Texas Techs. You're competing with the Arizonas. You're one of the best teams in college basketball, and people think you have a chance to win the championship. Last year, you had to talk yourself into Kansas being one of those kind of teams. Well, you know, if Darren Peterson, no, they were never one of those kind of teams last year. And that's the bar at Kansas. You could argue that the bar at Kansas is higher than any of the local teams, including the Chiefs, of what their fan base expect, what they have been used to, and what they will put up with. And Kansas has fallen very short of that bar the last couple of years. So I think what you'll notice is for a lot of these teams, a lot of these schools, it's the bounce back, and can they get there? Kansas basketball is kind of at the top of this thing. Now, Rob, you and I might see this a little bit differently when talking about Kansas football. It's really, can they make a bowl game this year? Cole Ballard is their starting quarterback. How many wins do you think the Cole Ballard is getting as your starting quarterback in year one of him starting and him having this opportunity? They went 5-7 last year and lost 5 of their last 6 games. They started out 4-2. You certainly are hopeful that you can win a bowl game. You got Missouri at home this year. Maybe you can pull off the upset. They'll be underdogs in that game. Can you finally get over the hump when it comes to K-State? And it's been a long time since you've beat that team. I think the Big 12 is going to be a little bit easier this year than it's been in years past. But you look at this team, and you look at the schedule that they have, you got Baylor at home, you got UCF at home, BYU at home. You don't have some of the tougher road environments in conference play. This is a school that, with the amount of resources that they have thrown at this football program, the expectation should be every single year, every single season to make a bowl game. So, Rob, that's where I am right now with KU. I'm curious, as somebody who has season tickets to both the football and the basketball program, how do you feel heading into 2026 with your Jayhawks?
Your football is 100% correct. The standard needs to be back to a bowl game. 5-7 the last few years, unacceptable. It's not a big hurdle to overcome. You got to get that done. The basketball one, to me, I think you're correct, but I think it really stems from, does the team look more like a team does that is dominant in 2026? 2024, 2025, at times looked like there was a little staleness, a little stagnation with the program. Can they get back to being a team that is clearly ahead of the curve in every way possible? But I think you've absolutely nailed what both Kansas football and Kansas basketball expectations are. And I think both of them can achieve those based on Tyron Stokes and the schedule, but they have to prove it now, because it's not just the ho-hum, we'll do it again.
I mean, as long as Kansas football makes a bowl game this year, everything will be good. I know KU fans might want a little bit more, but I don't really see a scenario in which this Kansas team wins more than 7 games this year. 6 or 7 feels to me to be the range for this KU team. Anything below that, given all of the resources thrown at football, would be a disappointment. And I have been very firm on the Lance Leipold side and the job that he has done so far at KU and what he has built. But you can't miss a bowl game in 3 straight years as a Power 4 school and think that everything's going to be good and that you're 100% safe at keeping your job. So let's see how KU football starts off this year. I mean, 3 of their first 4 games are either at a neutral site and or at home. You got Long Island University. You got Mizzou, which is a rivalry game. Mizzou will be a 4.5, 5-point favorite, but teams like that lose. It's a night road game in a rivalry game. Missouri can absolutely lose that game. You got Arizona State at a neutral site. You got Middle Tennessee State, and then you get things going. 3 out of your first 4 games in the Big 12, at least in normal conference play. I know Arizona State's in the Big 12, but those are road games. This thing could get real good real fast if you're Kansas football. It can get real bad real fast if you're Kansas football as well. Let's talk about K-State. Rob, I feel like K-State's football season is all about Avery Johnson. If Avery Johnson takes the step forward and is the prospect that people discussed for him coming out of Derby, Kansas, K-State can be very, very surprising in the conference. I don't think they're going to win the league this year. That's probably Texas Tech. That's probably BYU. That's probably Utah. But can K-State win 8 or 9 games? Can K-State take that step forward and kind of get to what our perception of them is? We kind of see them as a 8 to 9 win program. Very difficult place to go into and win. Very difficult place to leave with the win. Very disciplined, very smart football team. Can they get back to that and what they've been for, it feels like, the last 15 years of K-State football? If there's somebody positioned to be able to do that, it certainly is Colin Klein. For the basketball program, it's just about establishing a foundation. Out of the 3 local schools from a basketball perspective, we know them the least. Now, we might not know everybody on Kansas. There's a lot of new faces, a lot of new pieces. It's Bill Self, and they got the number 1 overall recruit, and they got the best home court advantage of any team in the sport. Kansas will be good this year. Say what you want about Missouri. Missouri will make the NCAA tournament this year. There's far more than enough talent for them to at least clear that bar this season. How good will they be? We'll get to that in a bit. But if you were just talking about the bar, what can Missouri do this year? They will make the NCAA tournament in basketball this year. I don't know what to make of K-State this year. K-State could be a big surprise in the Big 12, and they have recruited. We look at their coaching situation and say how they got the steal of the cycle last year, or it can just be one of those building block years. You got to turn over that roster. You got to establish the culture, and this is a springboard to what you can do in 27 and 28. I don't know if anybody can definitively tell you where we are right now with K-State basketball. With Mizzou, I know we're up against it, Rob. We'll get to Sporting here coming up in a bit as well. I don't know if anybody can definitively tell you where we are right now with K-State basketball. With Mizzou, I know we're up against it, Rob. We'll get to Sporting here coming up in a bit as well. I don't know if anybody can definitively tell you where we are right now with K-State basketball. With Mizzou, I know we're up against it, Rob. We'll get to Sporting here coming up in a bit as well. I wonder if this is just going to be a business as usual year for Missouri football. Missouri football has just been a pretty consistent 8 to 10 win program, largely dependent on the schedule. Now, next year, that schedule gets brutal, and that schedule has some of that this year on it. But with the way that they've recruited, with the way that they developed, with the way that they've coached over the last couple of seasons, I think you go into every single Missouri year expecting to win 8 games. That's the kind of program that Eli Drinkwitz has built up. Now, they haven't really shown you that there's too much more of a higher ceiling than that, and I think there's been a pretty noticeable gap between them and the real contenders in the SEC, and Drinkwitz doesn't really have that marquee feather in your cap win. For example, Mizzou fans, he doesn't have that Oklahoma win that Gary Pinkel had at home. He doesn't have the Kansas win at Arrowhead Stadium to win the Big 12 North. Eli Drinkwitz just doesn't have that kind of win yet, but they rarely have the devastating, heartbreaking loss. They don't really lose to the bad teams in the SEC, and they win 8 games or 9 games every single year in conference play. And for Missouri basketball, it's simple. The boosters have given Dennis Gates everything that he asked for. They got a top 5 recruit. They have a top 10 recruiting class. They went out and spent a significant amount of money on Bryson Tiller, like a significant amount of money. They had a very good transfer portal class. They were able to keep some pieces. If you had asked me, hey, who's the one guy on their team that you want to come back next season, I would have told you Trent Pierce. They kept Trent Pierce. If you had asked me number 2, who would you like to keep, I would have told you Trent Burns. He's 7'3". They kept him on the roster as well. They kept a large majority of the pieces and players that you wanted them to keep this year. So that took a little bit of money. You went out and you picked up some key pieces in the portal, and you clearly spent money to get Jason Crow Jr. It's time if you're Dennis Gates. This 7 seed, 8 seed, middle of the pack in the SEC, getting blown out by Kansas, blown out by Illinois in a rivalry game, losing in the first round of the NCAA tournament. That stops here if you cheer for Missouri this season. You need to put all of those resources together and be what Nebraska was last season or be what Vanderbilt was last season. You need to be one of those kind of programs. Be what Iowa was last season. You need to be one of those kind of programs in college basketball. So we are going to talk about every team in Kansas City throughout the course of the day. We're going to start with the Kansas City Royals. That's next. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
You're listening to The Drive.
My man Carrington Harrison.
On Kansas City's FM sports station, 96.5, The Fan.
For all the things you have to do and places you need to be, let Uber take you there. Because you had just one more 3 rounds ago. Because the 5 a.m. flight seemed like a good idea at the time. Because check engine lights always appear at the worst possible times. And because parking downtown is a nightmare. Because there are nights out, airport trips, and car troubles in your area, there are drivers in your area. Uber. Request a ride today. Wait time varies. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Well, Lorenzo, the pitch looked good.
Yeah, so green.
USA keeper was decent enough.
Didn't have much to do.
99 minutes.
Not a single goal. Well, Bet365 sure came through, though. I bet $10 and got $150 in bonus bets. Just for signing up.
At least someone scored.
Bet365. Winning is everything. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Missouri. T's and C's apply. In-app only.
Train to push past the pain. Not athletes, just people. Men, women, and children trafficked every day in the United States. Sometimes by someone they trusted. Sometimes by their own family. While millions watch the World Cup, they're fighting to survive in silence. Help us change that. Visit bluecampaign.gov/World Cup to help us break the silence.
Hey, Mom, now that I have an after-school job, I think I want to buy a drum kit.
Okay, Rockstar. Let's look at your account.
When kids start making money, Chase has easy-to-use tools and expert bankers to help them learn how to manage it.
And next month, I'll buy the bass drum and the cymbals. Oh, and maybe some noise-canceling headphones for you.
Aw, you've thought of everything.
Help kids save, budget, and build financial independence, all with Chase. That's good for kids and good for parents. Visit your local Chase branch and get started.
Account subject to approval. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Men, if your energy is down, your workouts aren't producing results, you're gaining stubborn weight, losing muscle, sleeping poorly, or just not feeling like yourself anymore, it may be more than just aging. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. Our low T and body composition treatments are designed to help men regain energy, improve focus, sleep better, build lean muscle, reduce unwanted fat, and restore confidence both in and out of the gym. At Heartland Men's Health, we specialize in helping men optimize their health, performance, and vitality. Using personalized medical treatments tailored to your health and goals, many men begin noticing improvements in energy, mental clarity, recovery, motivation, libido, and overall body composition within just a few weeks. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, PSA and T-test, and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
The Outlaws are rolling in and they're bringing the thunder. Get ready for the Show Me Shootout Truck and Tractor Pull. Saturday, July 18th at the Johnson County Fairgrounds. Feel the power as 11 elite classes rip down 2 tracks with 10,000-pound pro stock tractors going head-to-head for total dominance. Gates open at 4, engines fire at 7. Tickets just $25 at the gate. Don't miss the dirt-flying, horsepower-packed Show Me Shootout in Warrensburg. Get details now on Facebook. Search Show Me Shootout Warrensburg, Missouri.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Hey, it's Carter Jensen from the Kansas City Royals. Welcome back to The Drive with C-Dot on 96.5 The Fan.
Let's head to the phone lines right now. Today, we are going to have a guest on that covers every single team in the Metro. Jacob Milham kicks things off with us. He is with Kings of Kaufman. Jacob, how you doing today, my man?
Woo, C-Dot, it's another hot July day, and I'm here to talk about the last place Kansas City Royals. It seems like some things are always certain, huh?
You know what? Maybe we'll talk about the Kansas City Royals. We'll get there in a little bit. I have 2 questions to ask you before we get there. Number 1, what's the show that your wife watches that you thought was going to be annoying, but then when you started watching it, you were thinking, you know what? This show's actually not that bad.
Man, it's this Netflix show about realtors. It's called Selling Sunset. Have you ever seen it?
I've heard of it before. I haven't seen it, but I have heard of this show.
Man, it's messy, and hey, one of my guilty pleasures is every now and then I like HGTV shows. It just kind of combines those things. I'm like, this seems pretty silly, but now I've watched every single season. I got sucked in, man.
What's your favorite thing on Taco Bell's menu?
So here's the thing. Do we all remember when Taco Bell was cheap, was inexpensive?
Yeah.
I still take that approach. I love me a cheesy bean and rice burrito with that extra jalapeno cream on there. That is my go-to. That is my safe choice.
Right now, we're talking to Jacob Milham. He is with Kings of Kaufman. All right, let's get to the Royals. This is what I've been trying to figure out, and maybe you have the answer to it. How are we so wrong about the Royals? The Royals had a winning record last year. They had a winning record 2 seasons ago. Their young players played exceptionally well in the WBC. There was no way to see that they were going to be the worst team in the American League if you have been following this team for the last year. How did it get so bad? How did we get here?
It's it's one of those things. Where do you even start? Right, the injury front has been absolutely brutal to this team. There have been so many just marginally underperforming players, right? And in 2024 and somewhat in 2025, there were those players who were playing out of their shoes. They're playing over their toes a little bit, if you will. And just right now, we're seeing some of those guys take a little bit of a step back. We're seeing the injuries hamper a little bit. We're seeing some of this depth that was not readily available at AA or at AAA really show up in that front, right? Most teams that go into spring training camp and they have, 1 or 2 big name prospects ready to make that jump from AAA to join the big league roster or at least compete for that. The Royals had that in Carter Jensen, but we already got a Carter Jensen dose in 2025. We felt like he was going to be solidly on the opening day roster. The Royals didn't have that. The Royals didn't have starting pitching help ready to go in AAA. They don't have a guy ready to step up from AA to AAA to help the roster. It's really a bad depth problem. And while the prospect pipeline has been getting better, that is a really sore spot that other contending teams or teams who are in a much better spot than the Royals, they at least have something in AAA. They have something in AA that could be ready for that promotion. The Royals, all these future prospects are down in high A. Some of the guys are AA, but they're scuffling. There's nothing in AAA right now. I think that has been one of the things that really got exposed this year, C-Dot. I really do.
Right now, we're talking to Jacob Milham. Today, we are going to have a guest on covering every team in the Kansas City area to kind of wrap up All-Star Week. The Royals are going to make a trade here at some point between now and the trade deadline, which is August 3rd. Who is the most valuable piece that you think they have? What could get them back the biggest return as we get closer to the deadline?
I don't think there's any question that Michael Walker right now is the most valuable piece that they should move at the trade deadline. I mean, the guy was just an all-star. He's a reliable pitcher right now, right? Like when you go and you look at the Cy Young standings, you don't see Michael Walker up there contending for that top spot. But ever since he's come to Kansas City, he has been like old man River of the rotation. He's been a very valuable pitcher, especially for the dollars you're paying him. He gets out, he gets you through the innings, and that is something that is very valuable for some of these teams that just need rotation help to bridge the gap right now. He's not going to be the headline pitcher moved at the trade deadline, hopefully, but for the Royals, he is the guy that unquestionably has the most trade value that is feasibly moved. Now, it seems like the Royals ain't going to move on from him. I'm pretty disappointed to hear that because he could definitely get the biggest return.
Why do you think they're not going to move on from him?
I just think that they're rightfully so. They're focusing on 2027, but I don't think that they feel like they can compete in 2027 without Michael Walker. You know, you look at that perspective, 2027 rotation starting opening day. Without Michael Walker in it, you know, you get a step back from Seth Lugo, Cole Reagans isn't there, Chris Buvich isn't there. Like, they already have a starting pitching problem that they're going to need to address next season. Without Michael Walker, well, that's one less reliable guy to round out the rotation. And I don't know, C-Dot. I really believe that they should move on right now. I don't think his trade value is going to be any higher than it is, and you're playing a dangerous game if he takes that regression in his age 36 season next year. Well, do you want to be left holding the buck if he takes a step back?
Right now, we're talking to Jacob Milham, learning a little bit more about the Kansas City Royals. Who is the player that has changed your opinion the most, maybe for the positive on the Royals? Who is the player who has changed your opinion the most negatively over the first 90 or so games of the season?
I would say positively. I was on social media. I was calling for Alex Lang's job. I was like, this guy has no business wearing a Royals uniform. He should not be on a major league mound. And holy smokes, I was eating my foot about 2 weeks later. Like, he has really turned it around, and I get it. He has had several consequential saves for the Royals. It just hasn't been at a consequential time for the team. He has really turned around, my opinion, for the better as the season has gone along. For the negative, I mean, gotta be Vinny, right? Right? See that? Like, I mean, we weren't expecting this in 2026, even before the injury. Now the injury comes around, and he just didn't look like the same guy to start off 2026. We'll see what he looks like as he knocks more of that rust off after the hamate injury. Yeah, he's got a pretty deep hole to dig out of if he wants to be the Royals' first baseman for 2027 and beyond.
That's interesting you said Vinny. What do you think could happen in 2027? Because we haven't talked about him yet. We can start that transition with Jack Caglione. I don't think you can be surprised if Jack Caglione's the first baseman opening day next season. What does that mean for Vinny Pasquantino?
I mean, Vinny, like at that point, he gets relegated to a designated hitter at best if he's on the roster, right? It's, Jack, he has more contract control, younger, he's got a higher ceiling. There's no question about any of that. But you don't move Jack back down to first base unless you get a surplus of outfielders, I would say. That's step number one. If that does happen and Jack gets moved back to first, Vinny, at best, is a designated hitter. We're looking at an Eric Hosmer, Billy Butler situation, if you will. But, I mean, at that point, you would definitely be shopping him around on the trade market, trying to package him with another player or feeling the temperature out there. But I can't see a team giving you a good prospect return on Vinny Pasquantino right now that you feel good about shipping him out. I mean, he's a fan favorite. Everyone loves the Italian nightmare, right? Everyone loves Pasquale. So you'd have to be really sure about that move before you moved on from him. But Vinny's got to feel the heat right now.
Jacob, could you see any scenario in which the manager is not back next season?
Yeah, absolutely. There are too many outcomes that I could see happen. I could see the temperature just getting too hot there in the clubhouse, and we start hearing some negative things. I was talking on the podcast last night, and my biggest goal for the Royals in the second half was to go 25-40, because that means that they would avoid another 100-loss season. I don't think that you can say this team is going to compete in 2027 if they're looking more like the 2023 Royals than they are the 2025 Royals. You know what I mean? And if you really want to say, oh, it's injuries, oh, it was just a couple of guys regressing, okay, sure. But is that what you want to do, that old song and dance again going into 2027? I mean, just look at how the lineup turned things around when there were significant lineup changes. So I think that Matt Quatraro has to be feeling the heat a little bit. I'm not the one making the decisions, of course, but there are a few outcomes where I could see that Q is not the manager come opening day 2027.
What are your expectations for the rest of the season? You gave a number there on what they need to do to avoid 100 losses. I mean, if this team loses 100 losses, the point I always make is at some point you have to hand the public somebody. Last year with the Chiefs, for example, you had to fire Matt Nagy. You had to change the wide receiver coach. Like, you weren't going to be able to win 6 games as the Chiefs and then think that you were going to keep business as usual. I think the same logic applies to the Kansas City Royals. What do you think is going to have to change? What do you think is going to change heading into next season? We talking about a pitching coach? We talking about a hitting coach? We talking about them doing something massive to shake up the roster? Are they going to try to find their Kenneth Walker and go spend big money to bring a bat into town? What do you think that next thing's going to be?
First and foremost, I'm just focusing on the trade deadline. I think that there needs to be at least, double-digit number of people coming off this 26-man roster. Whether that be, designating them for assignment, moving on from them, whether that be trading them. There does need to be a major roster shakeup. And just like 2023 was notably a evaluation season, that is the way that J.J. Piccolo put it. I think the second half of 2026 needs to be a little bit of an evaluation time. What does Winder Avila look outside of the rotation? Can you at least find innings from elsewhere to put him back into the bullpen? Let's get Carter and Tags in there every single day, no matter what. We finally made that shift. Let's keep that going. Just little things like that point a little bit more towards the future, rather than seeing Lane Thomas or Starling Marte, guys that we are pretty sure wouldn't be here in 2027. Let them move on. Let them try to find opportunities with contending teams. Now, I don't know. We're at a spot right now. If the Royals can move off some of the payroll obligations that they have, namely Michael Wacha, Seth Lugo, those sort of guys at the trade deadline, then yes, you absolutely have to be going and reallocating some of those funds towards the lineup. You have to be looking to go out there and make a splash. I don't know if the Royals would do that, especially with the looming lockout, but we'll see what happens there. I definitely think that if they get to 100 losses, you're absolutely right, C-Dot. They're going to have to give somebody, and I don't know if Alex Zumwalt is going to be the guy to give them after a season like that, if that makes sense.
I'll get you out of here with this last question. Give me a random Royal that you will always love.
A random Royal that I will always love.
For example, I'll give you some time to think about it. Mike Aviles, Matt Stairs. Those are two guys for me.
Oh, yeah? I saw Matt Stairs come across my timeline the other day from that when he hit Ken Harvey in the back. You remember that?
I don't mention that. I mean, I know what happened. I just don't mention it.
Oh yeah, we don't talk about that. The cutoff man turned into the cut down man.
Yeah, for sure. Jacob, man, I mean, I'll even throw in a guy like Aaron Guile.
Aaron Guile, good Lord,
we do this on this show.
Talking about here, you know what? You're putting me on the spot here, and he's not random. My brain always goes to Yordano Ventura, definitely one of my favorite Royals players of all time. I would go. Do you remember Emil Brown?
I do remember him? I do remember. Yeah. It's not a snack; it's a meal.
Yep. I don't know what it is, but I remember being a kid. I was like, "Dang, Emil Brown looks like a dude. He looks like a mean dude out there on the diamond." Now, he had an okay career. No, he wasn't a terrible player. He wasn't a superstar, but he wasn't a terrible player. So yeah, I think of Emil Brown.
That is our guy, Jake Milham, joining us on the show. He's with Kings of Kaufman. We are going to have a guest on from every team in Kansas City today. Jacob, great stuff, man. We'll appreciate you, man. We'll catch up with you after the deadline.
All right, talk to you later.
Absolutely. That's Jacob Milham joining us on the show today. I mean, Emil Brown's 3 years in Kansas City, Rob, he left just such a lasting impression. 38 home runs over those 3 seasons. He hit 279 with a 340 on base percentage and slugged 428. He was doing this in 06, 07, 05. No protection in the lineup. Emil Brown. This offense could use an Emil Brown. You're telling me they couldn't use a jack of all trades that hit 280 on their team with a little bit of pop? They absolutely could use that guy. That's my guy. Rob, yours is David DeJesus. We've done this long enough to know that
he doesn't count as random. He's going to be a Royals Hall of Famer one day.
Why isn't he not? No, he's not. Stop saying that.
Kurt Nelson, I know you're listening. DeJesus for Hall of Fame. I'll do the speech. Put me on the field that day. I'll be there.
I want you to stop saying that. Why is he not in already? And he's behind people. You know that the 14 and 15 crews about to start coming up. Like one day they're going to put Yordano Ventura in there. They're going to have Yordano Ventura night at the K, and then everybody that played with them is going to come back. One day they're going to have, Lorenzo Cain, Mike Moustakas. They're going to have Wade Davis Day. If you think that David DeJesus is getting in, he's not getting in until like 2042.
I don't care the win. All I know is he needs to be in the Royals Hall of Fame. Do you know that he was an 18-WAR player for the Royals? 18-WAR player.
You know that numbers went up that high. 18?
Yeah. Imagine being on the Royals in 2006 and thinking to yourself, hey, we have an 18-WAR player on our team. Do you know he has a better career Royals WAR than players like Eric Hosmer or Joe Randa? Billy Butler, he has a better WAR than Mike Moustakas. David DeJesus belongs in the Royals Hall of Fame.
Well, I don't think he's getting into the Royals Hall of Fame. He was no Emil Brown.
He has a better, he's basically, for his baseball career, better than Johnny Damon. He's basically souped up Whit Merrifield. Okay. Get him in.
You think Whit Merrifield's getting in?
I mean, based on his play, he should. But once he said, I quit, you guys are losers, I don't think that's going to get him in.
Yeah, I don't think that he's going in the Royals Hall of Fame, nor that I think that he should get a Royals Hall of Fame. They actually really got to get going. Like, them putting guys in the Royals Hall of Fame in the new stadium, it's going to be cool. It's not going to be nearly as cool as Kauffman Stadium. Like, if your plan is to put Mike Moustakas in the Royals Hall of Fame, you probably need to do it over the next 3 or 4 seasons, you know? Like, I want to see Mike Moustakas go into the Royals Hall of Fame in this stadium, the one where you made the memories. And then next, when we get to the next stadium, maybe then we'll circle back for some of these other guys. But I want you to have your HGH night. I want you to have it in Kauffman Stadium. I want you to celebrate Hosmer, Moose, Kane. I want you to celebrate them in the stadium that you're in currently.
I mean, this year they did John Wathan, the old manager. So, like, you're talking about skipping the line. Like, maybe Mike Moustakas has to wait a year for David DeJesus night. Or maybe David DeJesus will be the first year in the new stadium. The whole Hall family will be out there to celebrate DeJesus. I'll be on the field. John Sherman, I need on the field for that day.
He might throw out the first pitch for David DeJesus night at the K. All right, coming up on the other side, we're going to learn a little bit more about Sporting Kansas City. They're terrible. How? Why? We'll find out together. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
Your home for all things Chiefs football and Royals baseball.
I'm a professional complainer.
Is The Drive with Carrington Harrison on 96.5 The Fan.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Sometimes historic events suck. But what shouldn't suck is learning about history. I do that through storytelling. History That Doesn't Suck is a chart-topping history-telling podcast, chronicling the epic story of America, decade by decade, from the 18th century to the 20th. Original music and immersive sound design accompany us on our storytelling journey. Listen to and follow History That Doesn't Suck, an Odyssey podcast, available now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Community Blood Center has declared a blood emergency as our community faces a critically low blood supply. The Chiefs, KC Current, Sporting KC, and the Royals are partnering to urge KC fans to donate blood. And thanks, donate now through July 19th to receive a We Bleed KC Stadium bag. While supplies last, let's get out and save some lives. Walk-in donations are available at any of our centers, or schedule an appointment online at savealifenow.org.
America is turning 250 this year, and Circus Sports is celebrating by offering all users in Missouri $250. Dane Hughes here, and for everyone in Missouri, all you have to do is deposit $250 on your Circus Sports app. Then play through that deposit. Once you do, Circus Sports will reward you with $250 right in your account. This is available for everyone in Missouri, new and existing users. Celebrate 250 years and find out more at circusports.com today. Must be 21 or older in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLE.
T-Mobile has an exclusive bundle for customers 55 and up.
I'm Sarah Bowl.
Yeah, I'm Frank Bowl.
A reliable network is key for us. And with T-Mobile, it's been wonderful. And going to the 55 plus plan saved us so much money.
A lot.
And that's important. Trying to keep costs down. The home internet's been perfect. It's fast, it's quick. The setup was so easy, it took less than 15 minutes.
It was like, ta-da! If you want simplicity, coverage, reliability, you want the whole package, T-Mobile has it. Right now, T-Mobile customers 55 and up can get 2 phone lines on America's best network, plus America's fastest 5G home internet for just $30 each.
$30 per month each line with autopay plus taxes and fees. Minimum age 55. Pricing for home internet rely on 2 lines of Essentials Choice 55. $35 connection charge per line required. Best mobile network and fastest 5G home internet based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 2H 2025. All rights reserved.
Look who has extra pep in their step.
Well, I just finished my to-do list.
Gas tank is full, tonight's dinner plans are set, grocery shopping is complete, and I even got everything for those barbecues and pool parties we have planned. You know what's even better?
What?
Every one of those stops gets me a bit of money back.
How are you doing that?
By using Upside.
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app where I earn cash back on gas, groceries, and dining out. They even gave me a cashback bonus on my first grocery trip.
So that extra pep comes from all that cash back. Looks like I need to download Upside.
You really do.
Earn cash back on errands and everyday essentials. Download Upside and use promo code TUNEIN5 to earn an extra $5 cash back on your first purchase at one of over 100,000 available locations. That's promo code TUNEIN5 for an extra $5 cash back. Remember, use promo code TUNEIN5.
Offers vary by user and location at participating merchants. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
This afternoon, expect a mix of sun, brief showers, and thunderstorms with a high of 91.
Weather brought to you by Capital One. Capital One offers no fees or minimums on checking accounts. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank guide. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
This is 96.5 The Fan, your home for Chiefs football.
Welcome back into the show. My name is Carrington Harrison. Very happy to be here with you on this fantastic Friday. We are talking to somebody who covers every team in the city. Let's get to sport in Kansas City. Daniel Sperry joins us on the show. Usually he's on here to talk World Cup. No, right now we're talking about the Gold Cup. Daniel, how you doing, man? Oh, I got to hit the button. I got to hit the button, Rob. That's my fault. Oh, Daniel, I was so proud of myself that I knew Gold Cup. I didn't even hit the button to introduce you.
It's all right, man. It's all right. Mistakes happen, and I think Sporting will try and tell you the same after their performance last night.
Honestly, it was very fitting that I messed up when we were talking about Sporting Kansas City. Like, that's Radio 101. I have to hit the button for the guests to start talking. The fact that I didn't do that for Sporting Kansas City tells you kind of how things have been going with them.
Yeah, it's been tough. I mean, they're in last place as they restarted the MLS play last night. They're going to stay in last place as they lost in St. Louis against their rivals. Kind of odd to start off a return to play like that with such a kind of intense battle type matchup. But it was one of those where for 30 minutes that team just disconnected themselves mentally from the game. They just seemed to be kind of chasing shadows and not really kind of responding to what was happening in the game for a bit. It took a goal that they scored out of nowhere, an amazing goal to kind of wake them back up, and then they were in the game and it was a match. But I think, if they can stay focused for 90 minutes, they might even win that game. But the problem is that's not a bug, that's a feature at this point of long stretches of games where they just kind of zone out of it. And last night was another one where they get punished for their inability to keep control, keep focus for a good stretch of the game.
Let me ask you, I guess, 1,000-foot view question. This is somebody who usually goes to one sporting game a year, but I don't necessarily keep up with them. But I love the stadium. I love the atmosphere. They're a first-class organization. It's always fun to go out there. When did it get so bad with Sporting? Because just 5-6 years ago, they were one of the best teams in MLS. They were competing for championships. Now they're one of the worst teams in the sport. What went wrong with Sporting Kansas City?
There's been a significant lack of investment in the roster for the previous 5-6 years. And, really, they made a really big push financially after the 2019 season, which was the first time in almost a decade that they had missed the playoffs. They go out and they spend almost $10 million between Gadi Kinda and Alan Pulido. In 2020, they started off the season with a bang. They ended first in the Western Conference. 2021, they were phenomenal until injuries happened. And then, 23 was maybe one last little kind of push for a long-in-the-tooth group, but they weren't really adding anything onto the mix. And, they made the $10 million investment and then just kind of left what they had until everybody got too old or too expensive. And, the locker room went, the intensity went, and, some of the guys left either retirement or, guys like Matt Beasler went, and were sent away. Roger Espinoza, Graham Zusi retires. They're names that have been around for a while. And club's kind of been left in a void. And there wasn't a whole lot of investment coming even in 23, 24. And, it took a little bit more so in 25. We saw them kind of put out a pretty good expenditure for a few players. But at that point, the roster, they needed that at every single position and more. And the roster has just really needed a significant amount of work. They have gotten started on that. I mean, this is a club that for a while used to tout that they had never spent anywhere close to $4 million on transfer fees for players combined. Now they're spending $2 million to acquire one player, another $2 million to apply another player, another $1.5 million to acquire another player. So the more you spend doesn't always correlate to the more you win, but it does correlate to the kind of quality that you're trying to go after and being able to pull good players away from good clubs. The problem is they just need so many reinforcements and I think they're still trying to find their way through that and maybe getting some big, really impactful and kind of culture leading kind of guys into the building this summer has been their MO, and they've started it. But like I said, it's such a long process to get back to where they're at now. And new owner and Peter Maluk has been saying that he's going to spend big, and they've so far been spending a lot more than they have in the last 2 seasons. So I'm interested to see what happens with this window. Right now, there's a lot of talk about a large investment in a singular player for that team, and that's something that really has never happened for this club at that level before. And so I'm really interested to see how it kind of plays out. But yeah, they're where they're at right now because they failed to really take care of their roster for a good 3 or 4 year period when they were able to maintain that winning, and it left them in a lurch at the end.
Right now, we're talking to Daniel Sperry. He covers Sporting Kansas City. We are going to have someone on that covers every team in KC today on the show to kind of wrap up All-Star Week. How are things now with the new owner?
I think there's a lot of, I won't say that there's a lot of uncertainty, but there's a lot of excitement, but then there's a lot of we're not quite sure what it's going to look like because this isn't a picture that we've ever seen in Kansas City, especially covering Sporting Kansas City. I think there's excitement about the idea of investment and ideas and kind of not only pushing the team into a new direction, but I mean, Don Garber said in a story that I wrote on Wednesday, Peter Maluk is not just the owner of the future for Sporting, but the owner of the future for MLS and kind of the next generation of owners of guys who have deep, deep pockets, that are willing to invest heavily in trying to bring the best players here and bring higher quality in, invest more in the roster, kind of loosen up the purse strings a little bit in comparison to what we think for pro leagues here in the U.S. and some of the better leagues in the world in soccer, and being able to compete for players in the same financial ballpark. And so I think, like I said, it's excitement about where things are headed. And I just think the an influx of cash is going to obviously do that for anybody, but ultimately it kind of boils down to whether or not you spend it right and the right people are in charge to get it in the right place. I've talked to a lot of people from around the league that have passed through Kansas City since during the World Cup, and a lot of them have been very quick to point out that David Lee is the right guy for it. I think he's been making some good moves so far. I think he's done a good job of finding value and production in the players that he has brought in. And so the next piece of that is what happens with the big ones, the big players that they bring in that are going to be the higher dollar acquisitions that are going to kind of really help change the trajectory of this team. And that's where the risk gets really risky. And so I think that's kind of the uncertainty too of I'll take Atlanta United as a quick example here. They're paying this guy, Emmanuel Latelaf. They paid $25 million for him just to get to the team, and then they're paying him another $2 to $3 million a year. He has not scored 10 goals for the team yet total over the 2-3 seasons that they've had him. And Atlanta fans are beside themselves over the spending on it, whether it was worth it, the lack of production, the lack of winning on the field, and ultimately what's going to matter in all of this is do the results on the field change? And I think that's where that uncertainty level kicks in. Is you can spend all you want, you can talk about spending big, but unless you're winning, it's not really going to count for much.
I'll get you out of here, Daniel, with this last thing. There was a rumor, I can't remember the gentleman's name. I believe he played on the Egypt team in the World Cup. There was some rumors that he could potentially be coming to Sporting Kansas City. I saw a lot of soccer people excited about that. How real is that? Is there a possibility that Sporting Kansas City can acquire this player?
It's real in the fact that, like, there's definitely been conversations between the two. What's interesting about Salah is that he's a free agent, so he's without a team, so you don't have to go pay a transfer fee for him. You're just trying to compete for the year-over-year dollar commitment to his contract and his salary. There have been rumors that he wants to stay in Europe. There have been rumors that he wants to go to Saudi Arabia. He is Egyptian. He is Muslim. The Saudi Arabia League puts out way more money for much less quality, to be honest, for the league as a whole than Major League Soccer. But they can get some high-dollar players in with the type of money that they can commit to a contract. Maybe a little bit more so than MLS, but MLS offers probably a much better relevancy commercially and the opportunity for really good endorsement deals on top of just kind of coming to the league and playing and going home. You look at Lionel Messi. I mean, Lionel Messi's in every single bunch of ads that you see the entire World Cup, and he's in a ton of ads during just regular, like, watching TV. Mohamed Salah is a guy who globally is a name recognized. He's been one of the best players, a thorn in my side as a Manchester United fan with Liverpool over the years, and I've enjoyed this World Cup, being able to actually root for him and like him, and I would love to see him in Kansas City. But I think it's probably more likely he returns to Europe. But Sporting has been reported to be in the prime position for any team in Major League Soccer if he chose to come there. So we'll see if that holds on. But there's been a lot of chatter today out of the Turkish journalists that have come up with a bunch of kind of fake nonsense and rumors that have been very quickly dispelled that he chose a team, and he definitely has not chosen a team yet. So we'll see where that lands, but might be a long shot for Sporting, but encouraging to be in that kind of conversation, as well as some of the other conversations that they've been in for players who might cost $20 million to acquire from teams in Greece and France and stuff, for some very high quality, high productive players at very high levels in the league. So hopefully that's the kind of big fish that we're talking about when we talk about that big spend. Is it a guy like Salah where you're committing $15 million a year? Or is it a guy where you have to pay $20 million to get him onto the roster, but you maybe don't have to commit that much in annual salary? So that's the big question, is where does that land for Sporting? And they've got a few weeks here ahead of them to kind of figure that out.
That is our guy, Daniel Sperry, joining us on the show. He covers Sporting Kansas City. We were talking to somebody that covers every team in the city. Daniel, I appreciate you, man. Thanks a bunch.
No problem. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. That's Daniel Sperry joining us on the show, covering Sporting Kansas City. Coming up at the top of the hour, which local team is going to need a new head coach first? We'll discuss it. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
You're listening to The Drive with prominent Mizzou fan Carrington Harrison.
I support Kansas. I want Kansas to win.
On 96.5, The Fan.
The corrupt political establishment. If you're ready to give them the finger, Taylor Burks is your man for Congress. Taylor Burks, America First conservative, outsider, 3 combat deployments as a naval commander. Taylor Burks will stand with President Trump against rhinos and the corrupt establishment. In Congress, Burks will always put America first. He'll work with Trump to deport every last illegal, ban communist China from owning 1 inch of our land, and protect our elections by passing the SAVE Act once and for all. So if you want to tell off the political establishment, conservative warrior Taylor Burks, an America First patriot for Congress. Paid for by Show Me Valor PAC. www.showmevalorpac.org. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Show Me Valor PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Today's match day preview is presented by Fanatic Sportsbook. Download the Fanatic Sportsbook app today. Winning hits different here. The matchups are set for the World Soccer Championship and the third place game. In the third place game, France will take on England. Usually in this game, motivation comes into question, and you end up seeing a lot of goals. Over 3.5 goals is plus 100. France is minus 200 to finish third, while England is plus 150. The game will be played in Miami. Meanwhile, in East Rutherford, New Jersey, Spain will face Argentina. Spain is looking for their 2nd title, while Argentina is looking for their 4th and hoping to go back-to-back. Markets are giving Spain a 42% chance to lift the trophy, and they are a minus 170 favorite. Argentina is plus 130 and has a 27% chance to win, according to markets. This has been your official Odyssey Sports Match Day preview, brought to you by Fanatic Sportsbook. Winning hits different here. Listen in ahead of each match day for the latest betting insights from Fanatics all tournament long.
Hi, I'm Carter. And I'm Charlie. We'd like to share a quick story about a homeowner named Jack. Jack had a home he needed to sell fast. And Jack thought he had it all figured out. So Jack talked to multiple cash buyers. Jack chose the highest offer. But the day before closing, guess what? The buyer backed out, leaving Jack with the moving truck all packed in the driveway and not sure what to do. Jack learned the hard way that the highest offer isn't always the right offer. Jack got suckered. Make sure you aren't hung out to dry. Call our dad at Rex Buys KC. Our dad is local, he knows Kansas City, and he actually closes deals. No repairs, no fees, no showings, no surprises. Just a fair cash offer and a smooth process. Now, don't be like Jack. Call 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com. Rex Buys KC, helping people make smart choices one home at a time.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
There's only one Ozempic.
Hello, I'm Ozempic. Because this ad is 30 seconds, I can't get into everything I'm FDA approved to do, so I'm just going to play my jingle again. But first, ask your doctor about which FDA approved uses of me, the Ozempic pen, may be right for you. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and learn more about Ozempic semaglutide injection, 2 milligrams. Only Novo Nordisk makes FDA approved Ozempic. Now here's that jingle again.
There's only one Ozempic.
Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch all your favorite shows, shorts, and clips. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
All right, I got a question. I think most people are going to have the same answer, but I'm a little bit on the other side. So today we're talking about every team. Now, this is no disrespect to Sporting Kansas City or the Current, but I don't keep up enough with those teams. I don't really know the ins and outs, the inner workings of those teams. So I don't know if they're in line to make a managerial change. Rob, maybe you know, and you can certainly inform me if so. So I don't mean to leave them out of the conversation.
Both clubs got a new coach last offseason, so I feel like they're in a good spot.
So you're probably not making a move. So Chiefs, Royals, KU, football, basketball, all three of the local area schools, which one of them do you think is most likely, or which one will be first to make a coaching change? Because I think if we are taking Vegas odds, Vegas bets, who's the favorite? I think the Royals are probably the favorite. They are currently in the middle of a disaster season. No one is going to shed any tear if Matt Cotrero is let go as the manager of the team. But I mentioned this before, and we'll bring it back again. I just don't think that's in Sherman's nature to do so after one bad season. Everything about the Royals kind of screams continuity, business as usual, not really rock the boat. When they had a chance to go in a completely new direction at general manager, they let go of the number one and then they hired the number two. This past season, the Royals didn't really shake it up a whole lot and they kind of kept things in-house. Offensively, they kept things in-house. From a roster standpoint, they kept things in-house. I don't think you go from that and how they've been the last couple of years to fast forward one bad season and now you're completely changing course or completely cleaning house. I don't believe that's the direction they're going to go. I think Bill Self's the answer. If you're asking me right now who's the most likely coach out of the Chiefs, Royals, and all three of the local schools, both basketball and football team, I think Bill Self's a favorite. I could just see Bill Self doing this one more season, waking up and just saying that I'm done. I think it's more likely that Matt Cotrero is the coach next season than Bill Self is the coach in 2027. I think it's more likely that that's the case.
So now Self would obviously be a retirement.
I agree. I'm not saying fired. I'm just saying which one of these teams will have someone different at the helm than who they currently have. I think the two most likely candidates are both at KU. Maybe you would argue Missouri with Dennis Gates. Like, I could see a scenario which Missouri is just, hey, we've given you enough time. We don't really trust the direction that you have the basketball program is. We can get somebody else in here that could just make the NCAA tournament and lose in the first round. It's a low bar to clear, especially if they're going to expand the NCAA tournament. It's going to be hard to miss the tournament if you're a decent Power 4 school. I just think Kansas, it's just more so as we know K-State's not letting go of their basketball coach or their football coach, at least for the next couple of seasons. Eli Drinkwitz isn't going anywhere unless he chooses to go somewhere else. And I think he's chosen Missouri in almost every single instance that's out there. Basketball coach, let's see how the season goes with Mizzou, but I'd be a little surprised if they have a new head coach next basketball season. I don't think Andy Reid is going anywhere. They're certainly not firing him at the end of the season. So it's honestly, to me, between Matt Cotrero and the two coaches at KU, I think Self is the most likely one to just step down at the end of the season.
I think for the Self answer, it would really matter how the season goes. Like, let's say this season goes like last season. I don't see Self walking away unless his health gets worse, which I don't know what his health is right now. He's coming back, so by all metrics, it's fine. But unless his health gets worse, I think unless they are walking out on top or back to the top of the Big 12, I think Self returns. I think the most likely answer is Lance Leipold. Actually, if you want my actual answer, I think the answer is no one changes. I think if we do this a calendar year from now, it's July 17th, 2027, and we're doing our State of the Union with athletic programs, I think every team would have stand pat. Now, I think every team would have a different level of hot seat, but considering the extension Lance Leipold got, which means his buyout's around $20 million right now, I don't know KU is firing him. I think he's on the hot seat, but I don't know they are firing him with the investment they've made in the stadium, state of college sports. That's a big buyout. I agree with you on both Mizzou coaches. K-State just hired 2 new coaches, including the prodigal son. They're not making any changes there. And I don't think a change is coming with Matt Cotrero, at least this offseason. Now, if it's May, June, July of next year and they're trending toward 100 losses, you may see him get Tony Peña'd and fired midseason. But I think the most likely outcome is everyone returns. But if you said pick one that would get fired, I think the answer is Lance Leipold.
I think you're going to crush me for this, and the text line will crush me for this, but it's worth throwing out as a topic. Is there a chance that Kansas, John Calipari's Bill Self? If you look at the last 5-6 years of John Calipari, it's not really that different than what Kansas has been. The last 3 years of John Calipari, they went 26-8, lost in the first round. They went 22-12, lost in the second round. They went 23-10. You remember that was the Reed Shepherd, Rod Dillingham team. And then they didn't fire him, but they certainly didn't stop him from going to Arkansas if that's what he wanted to do. And it felt like the fan base had kind of taken this, hey, what you give us now is unacceptable and below the standard that we have. If you look at these last couple of years at KU, it's not really that different than the last couple of years of Kentucky. Now, it's different. Health reasons, he feels like he's at the end of his career. Like, I don't see Kansas pushing out Bill Self. But they've given Bill Self the, hey, as long as you want to be the head coach. Well, the last couple of years, it just hasn't also been to the standard that you're used to as well. How many more seasons do we think the Kansas basketball is going to continue to live with not being Kansas basketball? Because being KU basketball is not about just being good. It's about being dominant. It's about being in the mix. It's about being a team that you discuss to win a championship. Have we had that conversation since COVID, since the national championship year?
No, the year after the title. Remember, he had the heart attack. They were a 1 seed. There was belief that team could make a run in the tournament. They had Grady Dick. That was a good team. It got all overshadowed because of his health issue that he didn't coach, and it got very hinky around the NCAA tournament.
And then these last 3 years, you would agree, have just been
not to par.
They have been noticeably below the expectations that KU fans have.
I don't think it's an unfair question to ask if they're going to Calipari him, but I think putting the health and that things aside, I think there's two reasons why it won't happen. One, I think first and foremost, I think Kentucky fans were a little unfair to John Calipari. Like, I know he wasn't winning tournament games, but it wasn't like these Kentucky teams were 12 seeds and they were losing. I mean, one of the teams, he had the player of the year in Oscar Tshiebwe, and they lost to a 15 seed. Like, sometimes the ball doesn't bounce your way.
I agree.
That Rob Dillingham, Reed Shepherd team, I believe they lost to Oakland when that kid got red hot. Like, sometimes basketball just happens.
Jack Golke. I remember him,
yeah. I'm like, it wasn't like Kentucky was in the 8-9 game every year. I mean, they were still winning. So I think and Kentucky fans are a different breed. The other thing I think is a little bit different is, to that point, Cal wasn't winning any tournament games. Bill Self has not won enough. Like, as a KU fan, I'm frustrated by the lack of success in the tournament recently from Bill Self. But at least he wins a game. Calipari was not winning any. He was over for a while in the tournament. It was hard times. So I think those are the major two differences. I don't think Kentucky fans and KU fans are wired the same. And I think Cal did nothing, or at least Self has a modicum of success in the tournament.
Yeah, the only reason I asked the question, and I'm not disagreeing with anything that you're saying, at least when it comes to them, but if you were sitting here and you are doing the math, Kansas, in their last 3 years, Bill Self is 68-35. John Calipari, in his last 3 years at Kentucky, they were 71-30. They are not that different between what Kentucky was doing at the end of their road and what Kansas is currently doing right now. And you agree with what I'm saying. At the end, I'm not saying Kentucky fired John Calipari, but it was obvious that they were perfectly fine with him going to be the head coach at Arkansas. They did absolutely nothing, and in fact, encouraged him to go be the head coach of a team that's also in their conference. It was not a question of where Calipari was going. It's not like Calipari even entertained going to the NBA. It was, they really want me. You guys don't really want me. I want to go somewhere where I'm wanted and valued. And John Calipari has gone to Arkansas, and they've been basically what Kentucky was. They won 22 games his first year and made it to the Sweet 16. They won 28 games last year, had a top 5 pick on their team, and went back to the Sweet 16. John Calipari hasn't really changed a whole lot. High school recruiting has changed a whole lot over the last 15 years. But Cal is still doing the same stuff he was doing back in 2011.
That's right. Those numbers highlight my point. Kentucky fans are different, man. 70-31 over 3 years is good. The fact was that 3 years was Oakland, was it St. Peter's? Yeah. And I forget who the third one that got him in the first round was. And Kentucky fans couldn't see the 70 wins and 28 outside of those 3 games. All they saw was Oakland. All they saw was St. Peter's. And that it turned them absolutely red. And I would say Kentucky fans also, to talk about the connection here, they made a mistake. I mean, they've been worse since moving on 100%. From Cal. Like, they had egg on their face in the process. We've get the coach they wanted.
I mean, I would say that's like Nebraska football. Nebraska football wanted to make a change. We got to make a change. They made a change. They got exactly what they wanted. We look up and like, hold on, maybe you should have been a little nicer to that guy. Like, maybe Frank Solich was actually a really, really good head coach. Like, maybe you should have kept him. I agree with you with Kentucky. They thought they were going to do better than Calipari, and now you look up and like, wait, actually you haven't. He's actually really, really good at this. Coming up on the other side, we are going to be joined by Joshua Briscoe. We're going to talk Chiefs. We are going to have somebody from every single team who covers them joining the show today. So far, we have done a little bit of Royals baseball and a little bit of sporting. Let's move on to the Chiefs. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive is always streaming live on our YouTube channel.
If you're a bad tipper, that's okay. You're all right. I'm not here to judge you for that.
Just search for 96.5 The Fan. You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
And Doug. Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons. And lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen. And oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live. And you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at LibertyMutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
That wreck really took everything off track. Can't work, can't help with the kids. The bills are stacking up.
Then stop waiting. Call the Car Crash Kings, SWL Injury Law. Car crashes, that's what they do.
Yeah?
Yeah, they go to work so you can get your life back and get paid what you're owed.
Don't get pushed around. Visit us at SWL Injury Law today for your free consultation. We're the Car Crash Kings. It's what we do.
Visit SWLinjurylaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Baseball season is in full swing, and you can trade every game over on Kalshi. On Kalshi, you trade every game, futures, and even the all-star events. For instance, maybe you're thinking about, well, I want to figure out who's going to take home the trophy. Maybe you like Milwaukee to do so. A $100 trade over on Kalshi right now could net you a $1,068 payout. Those are the kind of things you can do over there on Kalshi, because over there you're trading against a person in a live market, meaning there is no house, and the probability changes. You can buy in and out of your position depending on what position of yours you like. And for a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P, to get $10 when you trade 10. K-A-L-S-H-I, Kalshi, trade on anything. 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, visit kalshi.com/regulatory.
What do parents think of back to school at Staples, where supplies start at just 25 cents?
Staples has the latest laptops with up to 40% savings.
I may hug the cashier.
So embarrassing.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It's a wonderful time at Staples with up to 40% off select tech. Staples.
That was easy.
Visit Staples today or shop online and in the app. Ends 9/12. Exclusions apply.
And Doug.
Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons, and lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Tonight, expect a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms with a low of 75.
Weather brought to you by Duke's Mayo. Welcome to Duke's Mayo Country, where the mayo is so smooth and creamy, it makes every bite better. Duke's Mayo. Look for the yellow lid.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Too many tools, too much stress, and way too many bills.
Odoo replaces it all. One connected platform for every part of your business, so you can work faster, smarter, and for less. Odoo, the only software you'll ever need. Try it free today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Here's your traffic report on 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by SWL Injury Law, the Car Crash Kings. It's what they do. Visit SWLinjurylaw.com.
Brought to you by Buckner's Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Buckner'sHC.com. Everybody knows Buckner's is better. Downtown, we've got the crash that is 670 eastbound just past 35. Right lane is blocked. Shawnee, that crash is still there. 35 northbound past Johnson in the left lane. I'm Val with traffic on 96.5 The Fan.
Hey, it's Trey Smith from the Kansas City Chiefs. Welcome back to the Drive with C-Dot on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Let's head to the phone lines right now to be joined by Joshua Briscoe. He's on the Chiefs Radio Network. Josh, man, what do you do in the off season?
Well, just before you guys called, I was watching a baby groundhog outside my window, enjoying some of the clover in my backyard, so that was good. Believe it or not, I do stay pretty busy throughout the offseason, just exclusively covering Chiefs stuff, which is why if you've got a question about, like, Jeff Caldwell or the last cornerback position or, like, offensive lineman 9, that's why I have that information here available for you a week away from training camp.
So there's so many things that I want to get your opinion on. We've been asking everybody this question. I want you to give it very serious thought. What's your favorite thing on Taco Bell's menu?
Oh, okay. So this is a great question. I appreciate you bringing it up. And I don't want to be blaming them for the diarrhea parasite thing because we have a Taco Bell pretty close to our house. I am a regular Taco Bell attendee. I like the grilled burritos, the kind of in general. I think the item I've gotten the most is probably the cheesy bean and rice burrito. No meat on there, no lettuce to be scaring you off or anything. I think it's still like $2. So probably gone back to the cheesy bean and rice burrito the most often. I like to mix up the burrito mix a little bit, but a big burrito guy. And frankly, I've always been on the side of Taco Bell in this everlasting tug of war between if it's going to cause you gastrointestinal distress or not. I'm a Taco Bell warrior through and through.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you, Briscoe, and that's why me and you are brothers. That's why we get along so well. As I feel like they're making Taco Bell the face of all of this. We've all known that if you are going to get Taco Bell, you're rolling the dice with your stomach. You knew that long before this virus ever popped up in our lives.
And you've got to know your body. You've got to know yourself. You know what's good for you and what's not. Look, if you don't want to eat Taco Bell beef that may or may not be beef because you had a bad experience, you got to be able to adjust and pivot on the fly. Maybe you become a chicken guy. Maybe you go into the vegetarian options again, like the cheesy bean and rice. When you said that we were on the same page here, I kid you not, I did a fist pump like Tiger Woods on Sunday. I am so glad to know that we're aligned here.
Right now, we're talking to my guy, Joshua Briscoe. A lot of Chiefs stuff to get his thoughts on, a lot of Chiefs stuff to get his opinion on. We're talking to somebody who covers every team locally here. So let's start with the Kansas City Chiefs. What is the thing that you are most confident in heading into training camp? What is the thing that you are the most worried about, the biggest question you have?
I think I'm the most confident that the running back room is going to work out. I think you paid a premium for that, so that's not like super out on a limb. But even if Kenneth Walker is not an offense saver in and of himself, which I don't think the Chiefs are asking him to be, the entire running back room right now is just in such a healthier place after we had so many different iterations of that conversation last year going, okay, well, if Isaiah Pacheco goes back to his pre-injury form and if Kareem Hunt still has a little bit of juice to offer, and if Brashard Smith picks up the offense quickly. Well, there were a lot of ifs, and none of them really worked out with, Pacheco had overall a good career here for a 7th-round pick. Kareem Hunt was able to be the short yardage guy you asked him to be, but that running back room, as the Chiefs showed you this offseason, was just a disaster. And I think from Kenneth Walker to Amari DiMercato to Emmett Johnson, and even with Brashard Smith still in the mix, I think that's a really good, really fun group that is both good at the top with a top 10 NFL running back in Kenneth Walker and real depth the rest of the way. So I feel really good about that, especially considering how far it's come in the last 6 months or whatever. And I think my biggest question is still probably at defensive end. I love what they did at tackle, so you have to kind of separate those. The entire defensive tackle room I actually think is really exciting. But when you go back to it, Felix Uzama has the second most NFL defensive snaps of any defensive end on this roster. He's well behind George Karlaftis, but in his first 2 seasons, he played a little bit more than Ashton Gelati played last year. I think Gelati is still your likely starter, and then you need R. Mason Thomas to be involved relatively early on, but I don't want to assume that R. Mason Thomas is going to have 5 sacks as a rookie, because I don't really know how that picture is going to come together there. So, like, FAU needs to take on a role this year. And we talked last year before he ended up on IR. We weren't sure that he was going to make the roster before he ended up being out for the season. And now I think he's closer to the 3rd or 4th defensive end on this roster than he is to the bubble, because there just aren't guys behind him that have really shown anything at an NFL level. So I think that pass rush off the edge in particular it's okay to expect more from Karlaftis if he's healthier this year. Dealing with the hand last year was definitely a real factor, but it's a lot of weight on Ashton Gelati's shoulders, and then it's a lot of projection for Felix and R. Mason Thomas.
Right now, we're talking to Joshua Briscoe with the Chiefs Radio Network. To keep it with pass rush, I think they're going to do a Carlos Dunlap. You remember probably 5 years ago, the Chiefs got to like day 3, day 4 of training camp, and then they were like, yeah, this isn't going to work. If there's any place on their team in which that would make sense, it's with their defensive line for all of the reasons that you just made. I'm not saying that these guys can't develop. I'm not saying they can't continue to get better, progress. I'm not saying that. I'm saying is you are going into a season where if George Karlaftis doesn't meet expectations or football happens, he gets rolled up on, you are just completely rolling the dice with almost every other DN that you have.
And I do think, to your point about why defensive end is a position you could do that with, I don't know if they could do that with, let's say, Stephon Diggs. Maybe you can, but getting involved in Andy Reid's offense, I think, is a different thing than being like, hey, Jadeveon Clowney, what are you up to right now? Can you still rush the passer? And look, I feel like I've been wanting the Chiefs to sign Jadeveon Clowney for like almost a decade now, like 8 or 9 years, I think. He's been doing his mercenary cycle. A guy like that, I do think would make a lot of sense. I thought Cam Jordan made sense. Obviously, he ends up staying home in New Orleans, so whatever worked out there is fine. But I really do think that there's a real argument. If you want to go ahead and say, okay, let's get Gelati and Felix and R. Mason Thomas all of the snaps the first week or so of camp, and then see what it looks like, then make that phone call. You can do that, and it's not going to put you behind the 8 ball. But again, I like R. Mason Thomas. I'm excited about that draft pick. I think Ashton Gelati is going to get a little bit better, but you don't think his ceiling is super duper high. You think his floor can be pretty high, which is very useful. There just aren't very many known quantities outside of Karlaftis, and that's a tough way to live, especially when you look at like what the Seahawks did last year, where it felt like they had 8 defensive linemen they could rotate through at any given moment. It's just really, really thin at edge right now.
Yeah, and I understand what you're saying about R. Mason Thomas. I think we all feel the same way about him. A point that I made earlier in the week is if you're going into the season and you need the 40th overall pick to be a positive pass rusher for you, you've put yourself in a little bit of a hot seat. Like, just based on the law of averages, based on how that position and how it usually takes a little bit of time, it is far more likely that he has 1 sack this season than 7 sacks this season. So I could see it kind of being like Nick Bonito. Nick Bonito, his first year had 1.5. His second year, he got 8. His third year, he turned into one of the best pass rushers in the league. I think that's maybe a more realistic path for R. Mason Thomas than coming out the gate. He gets 6 or 7 sacks this year.
And it really, I think it would, I would go as far as to say, like, if you don't get a lot of production from him until week 12 and then a little more in week 14, and if he has a sack in the playoffs that catches your eye, that's a good rookie season for him. Like, I even think that point you make kind of goes to Peter Woods also, where I think Woods is probably going to get involved nice and early, and I think he has the skill set to make that work. But there's not a Kyrus Tonga equivalent at defensive end right now. And those are different players because Tonga's a nose and he's the big guy, one tech who's going to eat a lot of blocks there. And Peter Woods, you want to be more of the Chris Jones heir apparent. But there is a floor being set because you know how good Chris Jones is and you know what Tonga's going to be. Maybe Omar Norman-Lott can be that guy post-ACL. You don't want to rush him back either. But yeah, absolutely. I think in a lot of places on defense, even like looking at corner, I'm prepared for there to be growing pains defensively through the first half of the season because it's just hard. It's hard to turn over this much of your roster. I think Montreux Delane's going to be excellent. I like how the cornerback room has come together, all things considered, considering how much you lost this offseason. But it's not going to be the peak version of that post-2022 draft class. Think back to what it was like in 2022 when you had all that talent, all those new faces, and it just took a little while to kind of get to like peak Spags, if you will, where it felt like all of those pieces were just moving in perfect synchronicity. I think it's going to take a little bit for the defense, which is fine if it's good by the postseason. The pressure then, though, shifts to an offense that needs to be much better than it was last year.
Right now, we're talking to Joshua Briscoe of the Chiefs Radio Network. From an offensive standpoint, we had Matt Verderam on the show. I know you know him very well. He seemed very high about the offense coming into the season. Thinks that Rice could be a 1,200-yard guy. Thinks that Worthy could be an 800, 900-yard guy. Kenneth Walker, I think everybody kind of has around the same expectation, somewhere between 1,000 to about 1,200 yards rushing next season. Are you that high on the offense? Do you think this is a return to what we're used to and them being a top 10 offense in the league?
It's so interesting because the names from last year, except for the running back position, are so similar. Like, I'm also, one name you didn't mention, I'm really on board for Tyquan Thornton. I think the contract they got him back for was very, very much worth that for getting a potential outside deep threat kind of guy who really should have had a larger role last year, even after Xavier Worthy came back. I'm holding my Xavier Worthy stock that I bought when they drafted him. I feel good about him being able to really show quite a bit more of what he can be at the NFL level if he's healthier than he was last year. And that's an if. That's always a little bit of a roll of the dice. I think that the best version of Rashee Rice that we've seen is absolutely a 1,200-yard receiver. Are we going to get that version of Rashee Rice? I don't know how healthy his knee is, and I don't know where exactly his head's at. This is a huge year for him, obviously. It's a contract year, and he needs it to be a contract year in a positive sense. The one thing that I think, so I guess I should say, I've gotten to a place at wide receiver where the top three I'm fine with. That is a middle-of-the-pack NFL 1 through 3 receiver between Rice, Worthy, and Thornton. The ceiling is pretty high for those guys, really, and the floor could drop out, especially if you need to start relying on the depth, where Jalen Royals never got involved last year. I like Cyrus Allen, but he's a rookie. I'm ready to ride the Jeff Caldwell bandwagon, but I'm not going to be there till the pads come on. I think there's a reason he didn't get drafted. And then at tight end, it's the same group. You don't even have Bob Tonyan here. It's a ton of reliance on Travis Kelce. You hope for a bounce-back year from Noah Gray. Jared Wiley has never developed into a weapon at the NFL level. So much of this is not about changing the players from last season. It's changing the coaches. It's bringing in Eric Bieniemy. It's bringing in Chad O'Shea. It's bringing in DeMarco Murray. So if specific, Murray's got a good group to work with here. O'Shea's got to get a significant amount of improvement out of this wide receiver room this year. And I think by the moves the Chiefs made and the moves they didn't make, not bringing in more help at wide receiver, I think they looked around and said, no, we had the talent here. It just needs to be molded a little bit differently. And hopefully Bieniemy and O'Shea can do that.
I know that you would consider the Seahawks to be a Super Bowl contending team. I imagine you would consider the Rams to be a Super Bowl contending team. Do you consider the Chiefs to be that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I also consider the Chiefs to be a team that not just like last year, that was disastrous in a number of ways. I absolutely believe the Chiefs are a Super Bowl contender, and I also think they are a playoff bubble contender, for lack of a better term. And that's hugely determined by Mahomes. I know that's like a very simple shorthand for the way that we evaluate teams, but I think that the Chiefs roster, we give the Chargers a lot of flack for this every offseason. The Chiefs have a lot of ifs. If Rashee Rice is healthy and locked in, and if Xavier Worthy is healthy and takes on the coaching, if Chad O'Shea is great, if Andy Reid gets a little rejuvenation, if Eric Bieniemy helps, if the defense grows, there are a lot of ifs. And if those things do pan out positively, then they are absolutely a genuine Super Bowl contender because they have a quarterback who can take an 80% roster and make it 100% good enough to win a Super Bowl. You also want to make life easier on Mahomes and not make him be Superman that way. Ben Solak of ESPN, I think he also got a little bit of flack for his bold prediction being the Chiefs missed the playoffs for the second year in a row. I like Solak, and I think that the work he showed, the places where he pointed and talked about having concerns, at pass rush, all of the turnover in the secondary, the wide receiver issues and all of that. I think that was a totally fair bit of a breakdown for him to go through and say, hey, here's how it goes if the Chiefs miss the playoffs. These are the places where it would break down. He's right. Those are the places that it would fall apart. And I would say if they hit anywhere near their ceiling at most of these kind of pivot points of the roster, and then Patrick Mahomes looks like Patrick Mahomes, you could probably put Patrick Mahomes on the 2013 Chiefs, and I'd have a hard time telling you they're not a Super Bowl contender.
Who do you consider to be the favorite in the AFC West coming into the season?
Well, I think the favorite being the Broncos makes sense. They're not my favorite because I think that's another place where the quarterback kind of breaks the tie for me. I think the Chargers have a lot of ifs. I think the idea of them kind of reaching a new level of offensive football is like incredibly enticing. Unless you're another team in the AFC West, I think that the marriages there are really going to be really creative and really interesting. And for, the fifth consecutive year, I think you're finally going to see what you want to see from Justin Herbert. The Broncos roster is really good. I do not believe in their quarterback. So I think they should be the favorite in the AFC West. But if you told me that one of those teams was going to be in the AFC Championship game again next year, I don't know. This is me being a hater, but I might have the Broncos third on that list. But for a war of attrition in what the season takes over 17 games, I think the Broncos are a fair favorite, even though I would not be following the favorite that way.
That is our guy, Joshua Briscoe, joining us on the show today. Briscoe, we'll catch up with you closer to training camp.
Let's keep flying that flag for Taco Bell. Do not let that diarrhea parasite drag down their good name.
That is our guy, Joshua Briscoe, joining us on the show. Someone texted in, C-Dot, in what world should we expect production-wise from a defensive end that's not on a roster right now? I would say usually that is a very fair question. I will give you 4 names of defensive ends who are currently just roaming the streets, who I think could come in and greatly improve their defensive line situation. Joey Bosa is still alive. You guys might find this hard to believe. Rob, did you know that Joey Bosa played in 15 games last year? Did you know that? 15. Now, I mean, you're not getting 17 out of Joey Bosa. I mean, you weren't getting that when he was in his prime. 15 games? I can live with that. Now, they've never really been interested in Jadeveon Clowney. I mean, he's played for 7 teams in 12 years. Every team has had a chance at Jadeveon Clowney. They've had a chance at Jadeveon Clowney. He had 8.5 sacks last year. He had more sacks last year than George Karlaftis has had in the last 2 seasons. Clowney is still a very productive player. Now, Rob, I know you're going to laugh at me. Von Miller is still available. He had 9 sacks last year. You also could get a guy like Leonard Floyd to come in. There's a couple of other guys that are still out there. I believe Hassan Riddick's still available. Manuel Agba, you could get him, knows the system, played with Spags. You can bring him into the mix. I don't think that my worry here is off base. I think they're ultimately going to need to go pick up a veteran defensive lineman to throw somebody in the mix. I got to give you some names. I can't just tell you the problem. I got to at least introduce a solution. A couple of these names could maybe be a solution to throwing a veteran into the mix.
I don't disagree with those names, but let me just ask you this to play devil's advocate. Those names have been the names since March.
I agree.
Why haven't the Chiefs approached any of them? Because not like with Cam Jordan, there was smoke.
It absolutely was smoke.
There was smoke from the team. There was smoke. There's been no smoke with any of those players you mentioned, and I'm not counting the text line wanting them as smoke. They have had 4 months now to approach those guys. If the Chiefs really felt like they were going to add one of those before camp, why are they waiting until post-July 17th to do it?
I mean, I think you're going to see kind of like what happened last year with Keenan Allen, that there's going to be a handful of names that end up adding a player in a couple of weeks. I mean, the Chiefs' first practice is July 29th, so we still got 2 weeks until they get going. So I could see in this scenario, let's say Monday, August 3rd, the Chiefs have a full week of practice. They have a day off on August 2nd, and then they really get going there on Monday 3rd as they get ready for their first preseason game coming up in 2 weeks. I could just see them being a week in. They see the depth that they have, and then they just think, hey, this isn't enough. And you add one of those established veterans. You try to ease them in slowly, and you see what you got.
That's fair. Outside of Carlos Dunlap, The Chiefs don't really do that. They kind of go to camp with their group. Now, injury, things can change, but they tend to want to go to St. Joe with their team having been part of the offseason program. So I think it's worth noting that they haven't asked these guys to be part of the offseason program, and it's July.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess maybe this is me complaining and trying to get ahead of it. I feel very strongly that defensive line is going to be a major talking point throughout the course of the season.
100%.
So some of this is, and you can already hear me saying it, man, I wish they had, that time's over. When we're sitting there and it's week 7 and you want them to trade a 3rd-round pick to go get that pass rusher, hey, that's not what they're going to do. So maybe this is me kind of getting out in front of it when it comes to it, but they're going to have an injury. They're going to have something's going to pop up with their defensive line. I just think you need to get out in front of it. I think you need to prepare for somebody not working out on that defensive line, because right now, optimism is high on everybody. Optimism is high on Gelati. It's high on Peter Woods. It's high on R. Mason Thomas. It should be. It's July. But we also watch football. Everybody ain't working out. Everybody ain't panning out. Everybody's not staying healthy. Somebody gets hurt in week 4, and they miss 6 weeks. And you are one injury away, a guy busting out away from you just... Hey, now you're really thin, and the depth that we are all touting in the middle of July, that depth can be gone real quick. I mean, people felt good about the running back room. Oh, Pacheco's bouncing back, getting healthy. Oh, we got Brashard Smith as a 7th-round pick. Rob, when did it become obvious they made a mistake at running back?
I mean, the Giants game, week 3.
It was very early on in the season.
I think people held out hope the first 2 weeks that it was going to turn, and then when it didn't turn, it was week 3, 4, 5. People were like, uh-oh.
So, just throwing it out there. Somebody said Emmanuel Ogbah, he was on the team last year. I mean, he had a half sack last year. I mean, he might just be cooked. It could be over for Emmanuel Ogbah, but, I mean, that usually is in line with what they do. He knows the system. He knows the scheme. He was on the team before. That's actually a long time ago. It's been 6 years since Emmanuel Ogbah was on the team. Rob, he was on the team before COVID. It was a long time since Emmanuel Ogbah has been a member of the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, we are bouncing around today. We're going to talk to somebody who covers every single team in Kansas City. We're heading to Manhattan, Kansas next. Keep it right here, so drive.
You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison, the go-to show for dating advice you didn't ask for.
If you got to ask your girl to help on the bill on Valentine's Day, you've done something wrong.
On your home for Kansas City sports, 96.5, The Fan.
On the biggest stage in the world, FanDuel is changing the game because sometimes your player gets subbed off, and that means your bet goes with them. Well, not anymore. With FanDuel Super Sub, if your player is subbed out, your bet stays in. That's right. Even if your player leaves the match, your bet continues on with the substitute. So you keep your bet alive, and it keeps you in the action for even longer. So now you're in it until the final whistle. The Super Sub covers the entire game, including extra time. This summer is going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be even better with our friends over at FanDuel. All you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/local to get started now. Look for the yellow Super Sub icon on the same page and the My Bets page. If your player leaves the match due to substitution or injury, your bet automatically will transfer to the substitute who replaces that player. Go to FanDuel.com/local. Let there be goals this summer for the World Soccer Championship with FanDuel. FanDuel is the official sportsbook of 96.5 The Fan. 21 in President, Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Too many tools, too much stress, and way too many bills.
Odoo replaces it all. One connected platform for every part of your business, so you can work faster, smarter, and for less. Odoo, the only software you'll ever need. Try it free today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
At Farmers, our honesty is contagious.
Wait, am I going to catch honesty?
Well, when you're with Farmers, it's kind of inevitable.
Well, how long does it take to... I lied to you when you asked if I knew what a deductible was. I don't know my dad's birthday, and I thought umbrella policies were for rainstorms. Actual rainstorms. I have it, don't I?
You don't just have honesty.
You have Farmers. Bum, ba, bum, 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 bum.
Learn more at farmers.com. Underwritten by Farmers Truck or Fire Insurance Exchanges or affiliate. Products not available in every state.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
When you've got real work to do, Metal Supermarkets will help you get it done, fast. We've got a huge variety of metals in stock, and we cut to size, fast. Bottom line, we get it done fast, so you get it done fast. Doesn't get easier than that. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for metal. Find a store or buy online at metalsupermarkets.com.
There's enough needless nonsense in the world already. Your phone plan shouldn't add to it. Verizon's new Simplicity plan cuts down on the nonsense in your life. Now there's just one plan, one price, $30 a line per month, even for a single line. And everyone gets our best 5G network. It's a phone plan designed to do exactly what a phone plan is supposed to do. Isn't that a lot simpler? Switch today at Verizon.com or at your nearest store. For new customers, $30 per line includes auto pay and switch discount. Additional taxes, fees, and terms apply. Unlimited data is restricted to on-device smartphone usage. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds.
Here's your traffic report on 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by SWL Injury Law, the Car Crash Kings. It's what they do. Visit SWLinjurylaw.com.
Shawnee is the biggest problem. We've got two wrecks. 35 southbound at Shawnee Mission Parkway in the left lane, and then 35 northbound just past Johnson. Now, that one is in the clearing stages, but onlooker delay in both directions from both wrecks. Continue on near Overland Park. A crash 35 northbound just past 95th now in the left lane. I'm Val with traffic on 96.5 The Fan.
This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
I don't know if there's been a fan base more happy about a head coach coming in than K-State fans are for Colin Klein coming in. The prodigal son comes back, one of the top offensive coordinators in the sport. He is back to lead the Wildcats to the college football playoff. Derek Young joins us on the show today. He covers the Wildcats. Derek, man, how you been, man? It's been a while since you've been on the show. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, anytime, Carrington. It's a good time. As you said, a lot of excitement around Kansas State football with kickoff 50 days away beginning today.
So let's start with Kansas State football, and we'll get to the basketball team here coming up in a little bit. I mean, this really does feel like a storybook kind of hire. You know, Colin Klein was eventually going to be a head coach in college football. He gets to be the head coach at K-State and gets to coach up Avery Johnson, who's a Kansas kid. Like, I don't know if you could really ask for a better start to this thing.
No, you probably couldn't, and that's why he basically re-recruited Avery Johnson, you know, as soon as he was hired as well, to kind of have that launching point right away, because if not, then you have to dive into the portal, where it's a little bit more contentious and pricier to find a quarterback, or you have to develop one on the fly in your roster. So it was important for him to recruit Avery Johnson to return, even, and I'll concede to this, even if the reality of Avery Johnson to this point is probably, or the idea of Avery Johnson has been better than the reality, as he hasn't exceeded the hype or even reached the hype yet in his career. But if there's one person that's going to unlock it, it's going to be the guy that recruited him, and Colin Klein, who's, you know, the best play caller probably in Kansas State in the last couple of decades and did the same thing again at Texas A&M.
How hot has the 5-5 conversation been around Avery Johnson? Because I don't mean this as any disrespect towards Avery Johnson, but I'd be surprised if he is a first or a second round pick next year. I mean, maybe he's a late round, day 3 kind of pick. I mean, the most money that Avery Johnson can make playing football next year is continuing to be the quarterback at K-State. If they're going to let him come back, he should. How much has that conversation been around him coming back?
I agree with you 100%. Folks been asking, like, would he do it? And what is the scenario around a Kansas State season or around an Avery Johnson season that, it makes it come to a reality? And I don't know if there's one that doesn't, right? Unless he continues to maybe flounder a little bit relative to expectations and Kansas State decides to go a different way. Because even if he lights it on fire and Kansas State were to make it to the college football playoff, like you, I'm not sure he's like an NFL starting quarterback at any point in his college or in his football life. So why not make the most money he can the longer he can, which is in college football. So I think regardless of how he performs, I think he probably plays another year of college football. But, we asked him a few different times in Frisco at Big 12 Media Days a week and a half ago, and he just wasn't ready to have that conversation. I think to him, in his mind, he's preparing as if he is going to be a top pick out at next year in the next NFL draft. And though I don't think that there's a universe where that is true, he prepares for it that way, and he probably should. So I think he realizes the likelihood and the opportunity is there to come back for another year. I just don't think he's receptive to that conversation or discussing it at this point.
Right now, we're talking to Derek Young. He covers K-State for On 3. Let's keep it with K-State. I don't mean this as a negative. I mean, this is a good thing. Kansas State has been one of the more consistent programs in the Big 12 over the last 20 years. Do you look at this as being a back to business and K-State going back to being an 8-9 win program?
I kind of do, which it's funny because each of the last 3 years since Kansas State won that Big 12 title in 2022, they were basically picked to return to go back to Arlington and play for a Big 12 title in each of 2023, 2024, and 2025, but didn't, with the worst year being last year where they were barely bowl eligible by the finish of the season. So I do think it's kind of back to business. Part of that is because I do think the program is kind of steered in the right direction once again after getting a little bit stale towards the end of the Chris Kleiman era. But I think maybe even a bigger component of that, I don't know if anyone's looked at the Kansas State football schedule this year. It's not exactly a murderer's row. Everyone's laughing at the Texas Tech schedule. Kansas State's is pretty similar, to be quite honest. So if they weren't to reach 8 wins, it would probably be viewed as a pretty disappointing season once again.
What's the K-State home game that all the fans have circled? Every fan base kind of has that one. And maybe it's the Kansas game this year. They got him at home this year. But do you guys have that one that you're expecting everybody to come into town for?
It is probably that KU game, of course, especially where it is on the schedule and wanting to continue that streak. But I tell you what, a kind of pendulum game, so to speak, early on in the first half, if Kansas State were to win it, is against Houston, who is probably a top 3 or 4 team in the Big 12. It's probably the toughest opponent K-State has at home this year, but they get them early, which is probably a good time to get them. And if K-State were to win that game, if you look at the schedule, the other games are against the 3 group of 5 teams, or 2 group of 5 teams in an FCS non-con. Kansas is in there. Cincinnati is in there. A 6 or a 7-0 start is on the table. Were they to upset, and I think Houston might be favored. Maybe they won't. But if the K-State were to beat Houston at home in that first month and a half of the season, I think a 6-0 or a 7-0 start is probably on the table before they get to Tempe to play Arizona State.
Right now, we're talking to Derek Young here for a couple more minutes. I do want to ask you a basketball question. Maybe this is me just not being up to date. I don't know what to expect with Kansas State basketball this upcoming season. They've got a new head coach. They've completely turned over the roster. You could tell me that K-State makes the tournament. I don't know how shocked you could be. You could tell me that K-State really struggles this year, but they create a culture in which, hey, 2027 can be a positive year for them. I don't really know how anybody can go into this basketball year with K-State telling you they know what's going to happen.
I totally agree. And even us, the local media here and the beat that's covering the team is probably feeling pretty similar. You have a 12-man roster, 11 of them are new. Andre Kostic is the lone holdover. New head coach Casey Alexander now in town. They have a lot of transfers. He brought in 2 guys that were signed with Belmont. One's a true freshman in Jalen Alexander that'll probably play right away, that they're pretty high on. But it's kind of a myriad of players, and I think it'll be similar to what happened at Belmont, where it's a very high-octane offense that can probably score a lot of points, especially if they can unlock Andre Kostic, because we know he has a lot of potential and upside and was once upon a time viewed as a potential first-round draft pick before his true freshman year under Jerome Tang at K-State. So I think he might be the key. But there is a world where they score a lot of points. They might give up a lot of points too. We'll see. That was kind of the thing at Belmont as well under Casey Alexander. What I've been told is it's a system more than players, which is a little bit different than a lot of places and how they operate anymore when it comes to even college basketball or NBA basketball. And that's what it worked at Belmont. They're going to try to do that here. They don't really run the offense through a certain player. Anyone can lead the team in scoring on any given night, but they'll figure it out. But the one thing is for sure that I've been told is that they're really going to be able to shoot the three-point ball. That'll be one of the specialties of this team.
All right, I know you can't speak for K-State fans, but you talk to a lot of K-State fans. This is the scenario, and we'll get you out of here. K-State loses the football game, but they win both basketball games. Average K-State fan, is that a yes or a no deal for them?
I assume you mean the KU game.
Yeah, the KU game. I'm sorry. So KU comes in. KU beats them this year in Manhattan, but in return, K-State wins both basketball games this year against KU.
Yeah, I don't think they would take that trade. I think at this point, one, there's more followers of the football program than basketball program, which is generally the case everywhere. And 2, I think that streak over KU in football means so much to them at this point that I don't think that they would take that trade. I think last year was the 16th in a row, if I have that number correctly. And they talked about the streak getting its own driver's license, right? That was the joke after last year. So I think the streak means that much to them. But the streak that they would like to break is finally winning at Allen Fieldhouse. But I still don't think that they would take that trade.
That is Derek Young joining us on the show today. Derek, we'll catch up with you closer to the start of college football season.
I appreciate you.
Absolutely, man. That's Derek Young. I don't know about you guys. I'm excited about this college football season. This one's going to be fun. Rob, who's the favorite going into college football this year? Ohio State? Has to be Ohio State.
Notre Dame?
There's just so many good quarterbacks coming back this year. This is going to be a great college football season. I can't wait. Coming up on the other side, we're going to keep the college theme going. Aaron Ladd is going to join us on the show. I called Aaron on the phone 4 days ago. He said he was going to call me back in 10 minutes. Still hasn't called me back. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Here's your traffic report on 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by SWL Injury Law, the Car Crash Kings. It's what they do. Visit SWLinjurylaw.com.
Shawnee is the biggest problem. We've got two wrecks. 35 southbound at Shawnee Mission Parkway in the left lane, and then 35 northbound just past Johnson. Now, that one is in the clearing stages, but onlooker delay in both directions from both wrecks. Continue on near Overland Park. A crash 35 northbound just past 95th now in the left lane. I'm Val with traffic on 96.5 The Fan.
Hey, it's Dusty Likens. The world's game at BetMGM is here. Bet on the soccer showdowns with 2 up early payout so that if you're up 2, BetMGM will pay you. That's right. Let's say you put your money on Leo Messi in Argentina. They go up too early in the first half. Well, BetMGM will pay you. That's right. Place a pre-game straight match result bet on any tournament game. If at any point your team is up by 2 goals, you will instantly win your bet. Then enjoy BetMGM's same-game parlays, daily promotions, player props, and so much more for the world's game. You like Ronaldo in Portugal. You like Harry Kane in England. Whoever it may be, don't miss your shot at an early win with 2 up early payout to get paid out if at any point your team is up by 2 goals. Regardless of the final outcome of the match, make it a tournament to remember with BetMGM. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 and older only. Missouri only. New and existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Additional terms and restrictions may apply. Please gamble responsibly.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. And now we're customizing this rush hour ad to keep you calm, which could help your driving. And science says therapy is great for a healthy mindset. So enjoy this 14-second session on us. I think you've done everything right and absolutely nothing wrong. In fact, anything that hasn't gone your way could probably be blamed on your father not being emotionally available because his father wasn't emotionally available, and so on. And now that you're calm and healing, you're probably driving better too.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Community Blood Center has declared a blood emergency as our community faces a critically low blood supply. The Chiefs, KC Current, Sporting KC, and the Royals are partnering to urge KC fans to donate blood. And thanks, donate now through July 19th to receive a We Bleed KC Stadium bag. While supplies last, let's get out and save some lives. Walk-in donations are available at any of our centers, or schedule an appointment online at savealifenow.org.
Is anyone paying attention to rural Kansas? Everything costs way too much, and the politicians in Topeka keep siding with big tech and give a thumbs up to these massive data centers. We need someone who will fight for our farmers and ranchers and all the working people of Kansas. Vicki Schmidt is running for governor. She's the insurance commissioner who is laser focused on lowering costs and taking a stand against these out-of-state tech companies. Vicki's running mate is Joe Newland. He's the former Kansas Farm Bureau president who has spent his career farming himself and advocating for our rural communities. Vicki Schmidt and Joe Newland will fight tirelessly to protect our land, water, and way of life. That's why the Kansas Farm Bureau has endorsed Vicki and Joe. Finally, someone who has our back. Vicki Schmidt and Joe Newland for governor and lieutenant governor. Defend US PAC paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Dustin McIntyre, Treasurer. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. DefendUSPAC.us.
What do parents think of back to school at Staples, where 24-pack Crayola crayons are just 50 cents?
Staples has folders, notebooks, and pens at great prices.
I'm smiling from ear to ear.
It's the most wonderful time.
Mom, I missed the bus of the year.
It's a wonderful time at Staples, where school supplies start at just 25 cents. Staples.
That was easy.
Visit your local Staples today or shop online and in the app. Ends 9/12. Exclusions apply.
This is Michael Waka from the Kansas City Royals, and you're listening to 96.5 The Fan.
KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
I want to tell you guys a quick story. You guys know that I've been trying to get 10,000 steps a day for 90 days. I can show you my iPhone app. I've been very, very consistent in going out, getting my steps, eating right, trying to just change my health. As I was on this walk, I made a phone call Tuesday. It was 10:33 p.m. I called our next guest. He answered the phone. I said, "Hey, buddy, long time no talk." He said, "Yeah, man, let me call you back in about 10 minutes. He said it all cool like that. Today, I told Rob what I wanted to do for the show. I said, "Hey, you know what? Why don't we get somebody who covers every team?" I mean, I'd have went with Gabe DeArmond. I'd have went with the foremost voice of covering Mizzou. But I leave these things up to Rob. I'm not here to micromanage Rob. He then told me Aaron Ladd was coming on the show. So wait, you're telling me Aaron Ladd couldn't, I was calling him as a friend. This wasn't even professional. But he can answer your phone call? Aaron Ladd, you got to answer for this. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Dot. It's always good to be back on the radio with you. You called me during the show. You call me when I'm doing my job.
You told me 10 minutes. You said 10 minutes. Whenever you need something, whenever you're trying to go see Bad Bunny, my phone's ringing off the hook.
And I'm very thankful for that. You really looked at this.
I even had good news about J. Cole to tell you. That's why I was calling to tell you that I hooked it up for you. But now I can't get a hold of you no more.
Oh, you got the backstage passes?
I was trying to tell you we in the suite, but I'm not anymore. You will not be eating any. You will not have any free beverage on my dime. Not at all. You will not get a chicken strip at the T-Mobile Center. Not with me.
I really struck a nerve here. You're back in the gym. You're walking 10,000 steps a day. Did I break your heart? Is that what it is? Are you heartbroken?
It's not right, but you know what? I'm going to move forward because I am a professional. Aaron Ladd joins us on the show today. Aaron, we've been asking everybody this question. What's your favorite thing on the Taco Bell menu?
So I worked at Taco Bell. It was actually my first job in college. I lived in Mark Twain at Mizzou, and the closest establishment was a Taco Bell. So it really burned me out. You know, you work there, it's the meal every day. I get something like a Doritos Locos Tacos, nacho cheese, and then maybe like a cheese quesadilla. But I'm very basic.
Okay, my first job, I sold shoes. I worked in the shoe department at Sears in Independence Center. That was my first job.
That's how you got this voice. You know, that's how you got this charisma.
That's what.
Shout out Macy's.
No, that's where it came from. Aaron, I have so many Missouri football questions to ask you. I feel like with Mizzou, it's the same every year. And that's not even in a bad way. I feel like Missouri has established a very nice floor. They're like Wisconsin now. You go into the season expecting them to win at least 8 games, and you think that 10, maybe 11, if everything breaks right, is the ceiling. I feel like this team is very much in line with that.
I will push back on that and say, as you raise the floor, the ceiling goes with it. And if I were to put a pulse on the fan base entering this season for Mizzou, we're actually right on the eve of SEC Media Days. We're going down to Tampa, so we'll hear from Drink and the guys ahead of the season. The expectation is to compete with some of the ranked opponents. You know, you're elevating your facilities. You're spending money sort of-ish in the NIL department. You're bringing in recruits, and you're winning some of these recruiting battles against the traditional blue bloods. You want to see success against some of those higher-ranked opponents. And Drink even joked about it with Feinbaum earlier this offseason, saying, hey, if I don't win more top 25 games, you know, they're going to get me out of here. And, I mean, there's some truth to that. 7-19 against the top 25 under Drink, only one win since 2024, and it was against Boston College. The expectation now, yeah, sure, win 8 games, get to a bowl, but also when you match up against an Alabama last year, for instance, Texas this year, for instance, you want to come out on the winning edge. I think Mizzou fans aren't just pleased with being there anymore.
Yeah, no, and I 100% agree. I made this point earlier today. Drinkwitz needs his Gary Pinkel at home against Oklahoma win. He doesn't really have that win yet in his bag. He doesn't have the win against Kansas that gets you to the Big 12 championship game. He's had some solid wins as the head coach. He doesn't have that marquee banner win that Missouri fans are going to talk about for the next 30 years.
And his biggest, asset in the offense, which you would say is Ahmad Hardy coming back, is a question mark as of this point. We still don't know specifically the details on when he will return, if he will return. There's been little drops and drips of information here and there ever since the incident happened earlier this offseason, but you wonder what he's going to factor in. I mean, you've got talent. Mizzou has talent. They're at the point now to kind of further the argument of the talent gap has closed. They're sending guys to the league consistently. It's not a shock anymore when Mizzou has 3 and 4 draft picks per year. I'm with you.
Right now, we're talking to my guy, Aaron Ladd. He is with KOMU 8 in Columbia, Missouri. Now, I don't know all of the details about Ahmad Hardy. They've never really come out, so I'm just going to use Brian Robinson Jr. as the example. He got shot 6 weeks later. He came, and then he played in the National Football League. I mean, they haven't really given me reason to think that Ahmad Hardy isn't going to play this year. Now, is he going to be the same running back as he was before? I don't know if that's going to be the case. He had a pretty remarkable season last year, but I'm not really worried about him playing or not this season.
Yeah, I think that's in the mindset of still treating this as a sports injury, though. This is not a sport injury. I mean, there's a wide range, there's a wide spectrum on getting shot and your recovery timeline on what happened. Look, I think it's been intentional on their part, trying to kind of hide what's happening here. I mean, it's the SEC. Gamesmanship happens on both ends, on the field and behind. But I'm tempered expectations. It sounds like you're expecting him to be out there by the Kansas game. I would say later in the season. If he was back by the SEC season, I think it's a win.
Yeah, I would guess right now that I think he'll play in the Kansas game, but I also think like some of my optimism is if there's a team that could live with not having their starting running back for the first couple of weeks of the season, it's Missouri. I feel like their 1-2 is as strong as anybody in the country.
Absolutely. Jamal Roberts steps right in. You saw what he did last year. The running back room has really turned into a factory. I don't want to say RBU because they've tried to be this nasty wideout or whatever. They've tried to brand themselves as the next position group university, but the running back room has been sharp, and you see that on a recruiting trail even right now for the class of 2027. I have faith in Roberts. The Austin Simmons question is unique coming over from Ole Miss. Obviously, I don't know. Some people will say he lost his job to injury. Chambliss went and balled out. But the whole left-handed quarterback, how does that impact the offense? Mizzou fans haven't seen a left-handed quarterback. What does that look like? You know, as a Falcons fan, I'm getting double trouble on that one. We'll see what a lefty looks like in Columbia.
I actually thought Bo Perbula was a little bit better than people wanted to give him credit for. I thought he played hard for the most part, which in year one in a system for a guy that I think you kind of knew coming into it, he wasn't the greatest pocket passer. He was going to be more of a run, kind of mobile kind of guy. I thought he was fine, but I understand why they were ready to go in a different direction. We're kind of in the same place that I think we've been the last couple of years with Missouri at quarterback. You're hopeful, you're optimistic, but you don't know going into the season.
And then you sprinkle in the factor that you got a new OC as well. I mean, Kirby Moore goes over to Washington State. In comes Chip Lindsey. He had a relationship with Drinkwitz before, but we don't know what that looks like. You're trying to catch lightning in a bottle. I mean, it's college athletics in 2026. You never know where your quarterback's going to be next year. If he likes his first 6 games, maybe he stays. If he doesn't like his first 6 games, maybe he doesn't stay. The problem for me with Perbula is it just seemed like he plateaued, and maybe that was partially injury. We know he liked to gut it through. It seemed like he was not a sure decision maker and just opted to run at points in time. I mean, Mizzou has really failed, a broader picture here, to get the quarterback thing right recently. I mean, you circle Drew Lock and you put a star next to him, and who's your number 2? James Franklin, Matty Mock, maybe? I mean, it's football. Obviously, your offensive success is dictated a lot by the quarterback, and Mizzou really has had a lot of Brady Cook. I'll give Brady Cook that nod.
Yeah, Brady Cook was another guy that I thought was just better than fans kind of gave him credit for. And I thought in the end, fans kind of came around on him. It does feel like in this Eli Drinkwitz cycle, there's always that one game that you kind of talk yourself like, man, if they had won this one game, this season could have been magical. Like they've kind of had that each of the last 3 seasons. Like I'm a believer, if they just run the ball 4 straight times with Ahmad Hardy against Vanderbilt, I think they win that game. I think they go on the road and beat Vanderbilt. And I think their entire season is different. Against Alabama, I mean, they had Alabama back up against the wall. It's 4th down. You just got to get off the field here and you win the game. And then Ty Simpson takes them down the field and they score a touchdown on that drive. The question to me about Mizzou isn't whether or not they are going to be good. There's enough talent there. We've alluded to it. It's just there's going to be those 5 to 7 plays that define your season, and they just haven't really made those consistently.
And that's where a lot of the spotlight and the ire of the fans turns back to the coaches and the coaching staff and the turnover there. I mean, Drink has been a guy whose name has been floated multiple times. I mean, last offseason, flirting with a couple openings. There's still rumblings that I'm hearing here on the ground here in Columbia. Fans look at all things being equal, the facilities, the talent, 3rd down, games coming down to the bounce of the ball one way or the other. I think about a game that went in their favor was that Florida game at home with Luther Burden a few years ago. That was a game they had no business winning after blowing it. Fans want to know, why aren't we executing in these moments? And they eventually put it on the shoulders of the coaching staff. And that's why there is kind of this sense of skepticism. I don't know. For a while, I would say that Mizzou fans were cautiously optimistic. Back-to-back 10-win seasons. You win the Cotton Bowl against a down Ohio State team. So people are saying maybe we can compete in an expanded college football playoff, but it just has not, to your point, has not executed against the top teams when it matters most, and Drink has had to wear that.
You know, the big man on campus, you know, it's been, you know, it's a university. It gets passed. You know, at one point you could argue Sophie Cunningham was that at Mizzou. Chase Daniel's been that. Drew Lock has been that. I'm pretty sure that Ahmad Hardy is number one. I'm guessing that Jason Crow Jr. is number two on that list.
I don't know, man. I think Jason Crow Jr. might already be number one.
He's already number one and he's never played?
He is highest ranked recruit to come to Mizzou men's basketball since 2017. I mean, 43 points per game in high school, averaging that's like 2K my player stuff that we're talking about. He actually was at Lawrence Bowers has an annual youth basketball camp out here, 12th year, and a lot of the men's and women's players will be out there. So that was my first time getting to chop it up with him really closely. I'd seen him a couple times otherwise, but he seems motivated. I mean, this guy is a lottery pick that we're talking about that's coming to Mizzou. His dad's on the staff. He's coming over with Tony Bryant, another high school teammate. He actually seems like he's committed to doing it his way, in the way that he wants to do it. And look, I'm always hesitant, and we've had this conversation about small guards in the SEC. I think obviously he's going to have to bulk up. I think about him going up against guys like Acuff and even now Vanderbilt guy, T.O. Barrett now, like just matching up against bigger guards in the conference later in the season. Mizzou has been a team that's tailed off late in the year. But he's got that aura. He got a little shine on him early in his freshman season.
Do you want to come with me to see Neo and Akon?
Where is it?
It doesn't matter. You know what? I am rescinding the offer. I'm rescinding the offer.
You didn't give me any other details?
What else do you need to know? It's Neo and Akon. You needed more information other than that?
They're not coming to Columbia, Missouri. I bet that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. If you told me that, tell me where I need to be. How much?
And where are we sitting? Are we sitting in the Jordan Love seats?
Too many questions here. That's Aaron Ladd joining us on the show. KMMU in Columbia. You see how your friends treat you. Your friends are like, yeah, I'll go, but I need a VIP. I need to sit in the front. That's how they treat you. I thought it would be about fellowship and the brothership and just hearing music with your friends. Obviously, that's not something Aaron Ladd appreciates. He just uses me. Rob, he's used me for 2 shows, Drake and Bad Bunny. That's how they do you, man. Bye, Aaron. I'm not talking to you anymore. That's how they treat you, man. You hear that? See how they treat you? Neo and Akon? Why did he respond like that, Rob? Neo and Akon? If I ask you that, Rob, you're probably jealous I didn't ask you if you wanted to go.
I have the same request in you do here at the station. Don't worry about that one.
Oh, I'm going to be there. We're going to be there together. What song are you looking forward to hearing?
Don't Matter by Akon.
I shouldn't have asked you.
Locked Up by Akon. I'm looking forward to Akon a lot more than I'm looking forward to Neo. I'll be real honest with you here.
I'm looking forward to Mr. Lonely by Akon, you know. A little smack that, you know, a little something like that, you know.
Akon won't be as dramatic as Mariah Carey was, but there's a Two Americas vibe in that crowd for sure.
I Want to Love You by Akon, you know. Just give me a little hook. Give me a little chorus, you know. I can't wait. It's going to be a great show. Hopefully it's a beautiful night. I actually haven't been to Morton Amphitheater yet. You've been, so I've heard the parking at Morton is terrible. I have not heard a single positive review about parking at Morton Amphitheater. Not a one.
It's a slow grind.
Is it worse parking at Morton or the KC Current? KC Current's bad too.
6 in one hand, half dozen in the other.
Okay, all right. I have to say the Current is bad.
The Current is bad because but there's options around there where you can kind of.
There ain't no option at Morton.
You're parking where you're parking.
There ain't no option at Morton's. All right, we're going to continue this journey that we are on. We're talking to somebody who covers every single team. If you missed any team, be sure to check the podcast page. My name is Carrington Harrison. Rob Britton here. You're listening to The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Well, it's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here. Let me ask you a couple of questions. Do you have poor sleep? What about low energy? How about brain fog, a reduced sex drive, weight gain, and workouts that just don't deliver like they used to? Well, the problem could be low testosterone. And the truth is, those testosterone levels can start declining as early as your 30s, 2 or 3% every single year. And before you know it, You just don't feel like the same man you did back in the day. Well, you don't have to accept this. It's just aging. Heartland Men's Health specializes in customized testosterone therapy and targeted body composition plans. You might think you have low T. Well, pick up the phone and call this number, 844-447-6600, or check out the website and take this simple 10-question quiz. Visit heartlandmenshealth.com. Your initial visit is just $100, includes a medical consultation, a PSA test, and lab results in about 30 minutes, and your treatment can start that day. 3 locations, Overland Park, Independence, North Kansas City. There's no need to wait. Go stop by and see my friends over at Heartland Men's Health.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Baseball season is in full swing, and you can trade every game over on Kalshi. On Kalshi, you trade every game, futures, and even the all-star events. For instance, maybe you're thinking about, well, I want to figure out who's going to take home the trophy. Maybe you like Milwaukee to do so. A $100 trade over on Kalshi right now could net you a $1,068 payout. Those are the kind of things you can do over there on Kalshi, because over there you're trading against a person in a live market, meaning there is no house, and the probability changes. You can buy in and out of your position depending on what position of yours you like. And for a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P, to get $10 when you trade 10. K-A-L-S-H-I, Kalshi, trade on anything. 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, visit kalshi.com/regulatory.
I hope you're sitting down. The ACA Marketplace has announced significant increases on monthly premiums with deductibles over $10,000. You can enroll with Matt B. and KC at BBS Insurance's Freedom of Choice plan now. You don't have to wait. Their plan lets you use any doctor, has 0 outpatient deductibles, and it's 30 to 60% lower costs than most Obamacare plans. Also, there's no income disclosure required, so no potential tax penalties. If you are a small business owner or pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive.
Call Matt B. and KC for an instant quote over the phone at 816-205-4664. That's 816-205-4664.
Or go to bbsinsurance.net. That's bbsinsurance.net. They will customize a plan chosen and managed by you, not the government.
J. Rieger & Co. Oh, so good. Quality crafted in Kansas City. J. Rieger & Co. Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Winner of Best Craft Bourbon at the 2025 Ascot Awards. At 90 proof, it's rich, well-balanced, and oh, so good. Quality crafted in Kansas City.
Here's your traffic report on 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by SWL Injury Law, the Car Crash Kings. It's what they do. Visit SWLinjurylaw.com.
Big delays in Shawnee, 35 southbound at Shawnee Mission Parkway. The left lane is blocked by this crash, and you're slow, touch and go, all the way back into downtown. Okay, stall 435 westbound at Warnall. Right lane is blocked. 2-car crash near Independence, 435 northbound at 23rd. I'm Val with traffic on 96.5 The Fan.
Follow this station on Instagram at TheFan965 for giveaways and behind-the-scenes content.
I'm not going to say that we've never had some nonsense conversations on this show, because you might find this hard to believe. There's a lot of nonsense swirling around my head. There really is. But I want to tell you guys that there was a story on ESPN, and the story was, what is the trade value for every player in the NFL? For Patrick Mahomes, they put his trade value at 7 first-round picks. Now, this is important to note. Maybe you didn't know this, but you can't trade picks more than 3 years out. So the most you can make in a trade is a 3 first-round pick trade. That's the most you can do. I'm only telling you that for this reason. When you guys talk about a slow sports day or a slow news day, those are the kind of debates that we're talking about. It's not what's your favorite thing on the McDonald's menu. That's a fun conversation that everyone can participate in and is very realistic. You're going to eat at McDonald's again. Having a debate on how much Patrick Mahomes would be worth via a trade just seems like a waste of everybody's time. Because A, they're not trading him, and B, there is no realistic package that you could put together to make me say, you know what? Sure, you can have Patrick Mahomes. So that is just an indication that, you know what, maybe, just maybe, it's a slow sports day. Rob, can we talk about Caitlin Clark for just a little bit? We don't got to take any phone calls on this because I just imagine, I don't know if you guys are going to act when it comes to all of this. You guys kind of start acting crazy whenever her name comes up. But do you just want to have the conversation, just me and you, about Caitlin Clark?
I mean, we get about Caitlin Clark. We're definitely not taking calls on Caitlin Clark.
I mean, I'm happy to read text. So I just want to read this to you. So you guys remember a couple of weeks ago, there was a group of politicians that wrote a letter to the commissioner of the WNBA. Well, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, one of the 3 greatest living basketball players, wrote a letter about the letter. He added this. My first reaction to this letter was to check the calendar and make sure that it wasn't April Fool's Day. 11 members of Congress wrote a letter calling Caitlin Clark the face of the WNBA. At least they got the marketing department's talking points right. He then goes on to say, don't get me wrong, Caitlin Clark is a very good and possibly even great basketball player. But calling any one player the face of the league, absent of the sort of on-court and cross-platform dominance of a Michael Jordan or LeBron James, is an insult to an awful lot of great players, starting with A'ja Wilson, who has won 3 titles and 4 MVPs in her first 7 years in the WNBA. I see everybody all up in arms about this conversation. Colin Cowherd, up in arms about this conversation.
So to me, I don't know, if you're the number 1 TV draw, you're an all-star, you're the number 1 merchandise seller, you've got a little bit of charisma via controversy, that feels like face of the league to me. I don't think it's again, she may not have a ton of charisma, but she's constantly driving news. So, to me, if any, Tiger Woods did this in golf. He doubled the TV ratings. He was the face of golf. And he was great. So, and she's obviously an all-star level player, great three-point shooter, great distributor, among the league leaders in scoring, assists. I think she qualifies, to me.
All right. I'm going to have a basketball conversation about Caitlin Clark. Now, I know that's not what you're used to. It usually turns into some political conversation or some racial conversation about Caitlin Clark. I'm going to attempt to talk about Caitlin Clark like a basketball player because that's what she is. From a basketball standpoint, there are 2 ways that you can potentially look at this. There is no denying that Caitlin Clark is the most recognizable WNBA player. She is the most profitable WNBA player. She is the most marketable WNBA player. She has a shoe coming out with Nike. She has major campaigns with Gatorade. She has a major campaign with State Farm. She's got the Hy-Vee deal. Caitlin Clark is the most marketable WNBA player. And if the only metric that we are using to determine face of the league is how marketable you are, then absolutely, Caitlin Clark is the face of the WNBA. If you are saying that her presence and her being in the WNBA has elevated the profile of the league and that makes her the face of the league, I cannot argue with that logic. I disagree, but I cannot argue that logic. This would be the point that I would make. In every other instance, we make the person who is going to be the face of the league, we make that person earn it on the court. And Caitlin Clark has not earned being the face of the WNBA on the court by her basketball actions. Did you know that there are 6 players in the WNBA that average at least 20 points per game? Did you know that Caitlin Clark is not one of those players? Did you know that this season, in terms of shooting percentage, Caitlin Clark is 32nd in the WNBA amongst the 39 players that take enough shots to qualify? There are 39 WNBA players that have taken enough shots this year to qualify. Caitlin Clark is 32nd. For all the laughing and joking that people have made about Caitlin Clark or about Angel Reese over the last 3 years, Rob, did you know that Angel Reese shoots a higher percentage than Caitlin Clark? You would have never guessed that, would you? Would have never guessed it. People used to say that Angel was getting me-bound. She was missing so many of her own shots. Caitlin Clark shoots a worse percentage than she does this year. Now, fast forward. How do you guys know Caitlin Clark? You know her as being a three-point assassin, right? You know her from being a elite knockdown shooter, shoot it from the logo, pull up on anywhere on the floor. There are 43 players in the WNBA that have taken enough threes to qualify. Caitlin Clark is 36th in the WNBA in three-point shooting percentage. Being the most marketable person does not make you the face. Being the most successful makes you the face of it. Are we arguing that Michael Vick at one point was the face of the NFL? Michael Vick was extremely marketable. He was on the cover of Madden. He had his own Nike tennis shoe. He had an ad campaign with Nike. But he wasn't the face over Peyton Manning that was playing during that time. Was he the face over Tom Brady who was playing during that time? If that's the argument we are using, if it's just about T-shirt sales and jersey sales, Tom Brady has never been the face of the NFL at any point. He has never been the most marketable player. Not when Peyton Manning was playing, not when Patrick Mahomes was playing, not when Aaron Rodgers was playing and it was a discount double check. Being the face of the league is just not something that a boardroom can give you. Being the face of something in sports means that you earned it on the field. She has not earned it on the court yet. And the only thing that frustrates me about Caitlin Clark, the basketball player, all of the arguing that you guys do, I don't care about that. What frustrates me about Caitlin Clark is we talk about her much more as a cause and a movement than a basketball player. She's never averaged 20 points per game in the WNBA. She is 32nd in shooting percentage. She's 36th in three-point. We would never argue that that person is then the face of it. We would never do that in a male sport. Serena Williams was not the 36th best tennis player and then I'm the face of it. No, you get to be the face of it because we all agree that you're the best at it. So go earn it on the floor. That's what we had to tell Michael Jordan at some point. Hey, the tennis shoes are nice. Hey, can you go beat Magic? Can you go beat Bird? Can you go beat Isaiah Thomas? And then you get to be the face of the NBA. That's the only point I got about Caitlin Clark. I know that guy makes you mad. I get it. I know she did so much. All the players should be thankful for her allowing her taking her basketball talents to the WNBA. She should start her own league. I get all of that. You can argue she's not even the best player on her team. She's not the best three-point shooter on her own team. Sophie Cunningham shoots 10% better from three than she does. I just wish we discussed Caitlin Clark as a basketball player. That's it. That's all I want. I just want us to talk about her one time. We've had 5 years of Caitlin Clark in our lives, and we've never talked about her as just a basketball player and her game and what she needs to work on. Let's go to the phone lines right now to be joined by our guy, Shreyas Ladha. He is with the Kansas City Star. He covers Kansas athletics. Shreyas, how you doing, man?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I'm sorry you had to hear a little bit of my Caitlin Clark thoughts as you were getting ready. But I do have to ask you this. This is very, very important. We have been asking everybody this question. What is your favorite thing on Taco Bell's menu?
I'm a Mexican pizza guy. Veggie Mexican pizza, because I don't eat beef, but I eat chicken. But I'm a big veggie Mexican pizza guy.
Okay, that's a good one. You know what? That's a good one. I like that one. Shreyas, a lot of things to talk about. Let's start here with the basketball program. How is Bill Self feeling? Have you got a chance to talk to him? There was an uncertainty on whether or not he was going to come back, but he is now back. He sounds good. He looks good. Have you got a chance to catch up with him?
Honestly, no, we haven't had any availabilities, but from what I've kind of gathered around the program and talking to sources and this and that, I think there's a lot of excitement around this team. They have Tyron Stokes, obviously the crown jewel of that class, but they have a lot of depth, I think, this year compared to previous years. A lot of it's, of course, going to be dependent on the internal development of Paul Mbia and Cole Rosario, but the vibes are good so far, and obviously we have to see what happens with the Serbian big men. They might have added, but we have to see if he gets academic eligibility. But I think there's a lot of excitement around the program.
Yeah, I'm with you, at least when it comes to that. I'm really excited to see Tyron Stokes. I mean, last year, the number 1 overall pick, there was a lot of buzz, a lot of excitement about it. It didn't really work out that well when it actually got to on the court. But there appears to be a lot of optimism around Stokes. He's around. He's going to baseball games. This feels a lot different than last year.
I completely agree. I think there's just two very different players, Darren and Tyron Stokes, in demeanor, personality, character, in the sense of just like, Darren is a little bit of a quieter guy. Tyron is a little more fiery. But I think, they're also different players on the court. Tyron's a phenomenal driver. He's a bully in the paint. He's a pretty good facilitator. And he's a pretty good defender, but he's a developing shooter. Darren was kind of like an all-around scorer with pretty good defense, but we didn't see it as much as we wanted to see it last year because of the injury issues. But I think there's a lot of hope that they can build something special around Tyron. I think they've surrounded him with some good talent compared to some of what Darren had this past year. And, I like the makeup of this team. It's hard to predict because so much of, the offense is going to be reliant on young guys and the leaps they take. But to me, this team feels a little deeper than last year's team. And I think it has the potential to be a team that hopefully at least gets out of the first weekend.
Who do you think can be the Trey White for this team? Who do you think can be the Melvin Council for KU basketball this year?
The Trey White's probably Keanu Doss. He's a guy that was like third in Utah scoring last year. He can play the 4. He can play a little bit of small ball 5. He shot decently from 3, not amazing, but the hope is he can get to like that 35 to 38% range. Trey was at 40, which is crazy. I think he's going to be a guy who's going to be probably the third, maybe leading scorer. Melvin Council is probably going to be either a guy like Cole Rosario or Taylor Kinney. I think the biggest question mark with Taylor Kinney is how good is he really, and how much of the growing pains are we going to see in his transition to college basketball from high school, while a guy like Cole Rosario is like, is he taking a big enough leap where he's contending for a starting spot? Are the threes falling? Because if they are, that's huge because he is insane vertical. He's a great rebounder, pretty good defender. If you could make it so Cole Rosario is now competing with Leroy Biden for the starting shooting guard spot, well, Kansas is that much better no matter who wins that spot.
Trias, what happens with Kansas football if they win 5 games this year? What do you think happens with their head coach?
You put me on the spot, C-Dot.
I got to.
I think it'd be pretty disappointing, and I'm not super high on this team, candidly, just because I think there's a lot of question marks. The quarterback situation to me is going to be interesting to kind of see how it plays out. I think there's going to be some level of Lance Leipold on the hot seat if he isn't already, but really some level of you can't have 3 straight 5-win seasons when you have $300 million invested in David Booth Memorial Kansas Stadium renovations. And I think Kansas fans would be very, very disappointed, but I think this could be a rebuilding year this year, just because I think quarterback play is going to be up and down.
What was last year then, Trias? If you're saying that this year is going to be a rebuilding year, what was last year?
But last year they started off 4-2, right? And
they did.
Has
That's fair.
18 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and then he falls apart in the last 1/3 of the season. For me, I just don't really see either quarterback, whether it's Cole Ballard or Isaiah Marshall. And right now, Cole Ballard has a slight edge on the job from what I've heard. Having that good of a start, right? Maybe they have a higher floor than Jalen did or whatever, but I certainly don't think they have the ceiling of what Jalen had this past year in the first 6 games or whatever. And to me, neither quarterback, from what I've heard, has really separated themselves fully from each other. Like Cole Ballard has learned the playbook. He's kind of the quintessential, almost movie quarterback, I call it. He's liked well in the locker room. He's a leader. He has a better arm than Isaiah Marshall, but he's kind of a game manager, and a guy like Isaiah Marshall, he has a weaker arm between the two, but his legs are a real kind of threat. I mean, he averaged 10 yards a carry every time Kansas brought him in last year. And the interesting thing was, Lance said both quarterbacks can play no matter how it plays out. And to me, that's another tell, because how often was Cole Ballard coming in on situations, even though he's a backup quarterback last year, to go run the ball? So that means right now, at least, Cole Ballard leads the job, which, I mentioned before, which I had known about. But I don't have a lot of confidence in either one of these quarterbacks, candidly, just because they're young, they're going to make mistakes, it's going to be up and down. You're going to be relying on a run game of Dylan Edwards and Yasin Rose, which I think could be pretty good. And Andy Kotelnicki will make the offenses better. I think the offensive line has some big physical guys that should be good. But I look at that schedule, CDOT, and I'm just struggling to see 6 wins. Maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong plenty of times before, but I'm just not super optimistic that this Kansas team is going to be in the bowl eligibility territory or anywhere near it come last week of the season.
All right, I'll put you on the spot here. I'll get you out of here with this last question. Now I want to see you squirm a little bit. If I tell you that KU is looking for a new football coach or basketball coach in 2027, which coach do you think is more likely to be?
Oh, man. I mean, I think it would probably be Bill, right? Because, he flirted with, almost leaving this year. I think, regardless of what happens this year, I think he only has a year or two left, just kind of reading the tea leaves. And, the health situation, unfortunately, Bill's had some health issues every single year the past few years. And Kansas, I reported on this before. They were looking at 3 or 4 different names alongside Jock. And one of those names is gone now, Dusty May, but Ben McCullum and Tommy Lloyd were 2 other names they really liked. And obviously they like the Iowa State coach as well. But I'm going to be safe here and go with Bill, just because I think, he really thought about leaving this year, and I wouldn't be surprised if he has one more year in him. If Lance somehow manages 5-6 wins, I think he gets another year, or he might decide to retire. I mean, he's on the older end. Maybe he didn't make that decision, but it's unclear in that sense.
That is Shreyas Ladha joining us on the show with the Kansas City Star, covering Kansas basketball and football. Shreyas, man, we'll catch up with you here in a month or so.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys, for having me.
That is Shreyas joining us on the show today. All right, coming up, it is our last interview. I don't think, Rob, have we ever had somebody on to talk about the Kansas City Current? I don't know if that's ever happened before, but we don't discriminate on this show. We said we're talking about every pro team. The Current, we're talking about them next. Keep it right here, it's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison and Rob Brenton.
You losers is what you are.
On your home for Kansas City sports, 96.5 The Fan.
On the biggest stage in the world, FanDuel is changing the game, because sometimes your player gets subbed off, and that means your bet goes with them. Well, not anymore. With FanDuel Super Sub, if your player is subbed out, your bet stays in. That's right. Even if your player leaves the match, your bet continues on with the substitute. So you keep your bet alive, and it keeps you in the action for even longer. So now you're in it until the final whistle. The Super Sub covers the entire game, including extra time. This summer is going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be even better with our friends over at FanDuel. All you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/local to get started now. Look for the yellow Super Sub icon on the same page and the My Bets page. If your player leaves the match due to substitution or injury, your bet automatically will transfer to the substitute who replaces that player. Go to FanDuel.com/local. Let there be goals this summer for the World Soccer Championship with FanDuel. FanDuel is the official sportsbook of 96.5 The Fan. 21 in President, Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand, so shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
This summer, the Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich and Pineapple Dragon Fruit and Sprite are back at Chick-fil-A.
Let me tell you about the Pineapple Dragon Fruit and Sprite. It's bright, it's bubbly, it's back.
The Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich, it's so rich, and you can choose between the original or the spicy filet.
Ooh, boy.
And then you got those pickled jalapenos tucked right under the filet, and then just to top it all off, you've got a little honey drizzle right on top.
Okay, now I'm a pimento fan.
And I'm feeling the dragon fruit.
Which fan favorite will you choose? Real customers paid for their testimonials.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/team. That's ZipRecruiter.com/team.
ZipRecruiter. Hey, it's Rex here with Rex Buys KC. I get it. Selling your house can sometimes feel overwhelming or scary, right? I've seen it too many times. A homeowner thought they had a deal, only to have the buyer back out at the last minute. That's not how we do business at Rex Buys KC. I'm local, I know Kansas City, and I make sure every deal actually closes like it's supposed to. No hidden fees, no showings, no last-minute surprises, just a fair cash offer and a process you can count on. We buy homes in any condition and judgment-free. So whether your house needs repairs or you just want a fast, hassle-free sale, we can make it happen. If you want certainty, transparency, and someone local who actually delivers, call 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com. Rex Buys KC, helping people make smart choices one home at a time. 816-330-6000 or rexbuyskc.com.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose. And millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
Here's your traffic report on 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by SWL Injury Law, the Car Crash Kings. It's what they do. Visit SWLinjurylaw.com.
Okay, big problem now coming out of downtown. 70 eastbound is closed just past 23rd for crash cleanup. Near the split, almost to Shawnee, 35 southbound at 635. Right lane is blocked. We've got a crash 435 northbound over just past 95th in the left lane. I'm Val with traffic on 96.5 The Fan.
Subscribe to 96.5 The Fan on YouTube to watch the show from wherever you are.
I'm very happy to be ending our trip around Kansas City with the Kansas City Current. Jillian Carroll joins us on the show. She is on the broadcast team. She also was an MC down at FanFest over the last couple of weeks. Jillian, happy to be talking soccer with you. Thanks a lot for coming on the show today.
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Let's just talk about your World Cup experience over the last couple of weeks since you've been down at FanFest.
Yeah, it has been wild. And to be honest, I actually had been a part of the planning committee for probably about 16 months now. So, I mean, we all know that the preparation started years ago, right? But my kind of boots on the ground role started a little over a year ago with just kind of educating the community, getting people excited, engaging people who might not yet have experience the world of soccer. But yeah, fast forward to, I can't believe it's like you blink and it's gone, man. But out at FanFest, it was an absolute time. I feel like I saw the cultures of the world unite. We saw some cross-cultural romances happening right before our eyes from the stage. It was absolutely hilarious. But yeah, for a kid who grew up playing soccer here, to see the world's game come to our backyard, it has just been an incredible summer. I'm so happy for our city.
What do you think the lasting memory from the World Cup is going to be? Do you think it's going to be Messi's hat trick in the first game? Do you think it's going to be the Orange March? Do you think it's Messi and the great comeback we saw in the knockout round? Like 10, 15 years from now when we're having this conversation, what do you think people are going to remember most?
Geez, those are all really good shouts. And for different people, each one of those that you just mentioned probably could be the answer to this. I think for me, it's literally how brightly Kansas City shined. And I think it is collectively how we as a community came together and welcomed each team, not only with our Midwest weather, if you caught that every time a team landed, we had a thunderstorm, great, but just the way that we welcomed everybody. So the Fan Fest, obviously, number one, they came out in thousands to that, but even just like embracing the culture, the Orange March is probably top two for me. Watching that march take over downtown and watching our city just embrace the people. The Dutch people are some of my favorite people ever. I had no clue I would love them so much, but I had a great time with that. For me, again, former soccer player, coach, it's my world. I got to witness the hat trick. I got to be at Arrowhead Stadium, one of my favorite places in Kansas City, watching history right before our eyes. So that's probably the top for me. But again, just how our city just rose to the occasion and just came prepared, whether it be the entrepreneur business world that took over Union Station, or just the way that fans came out and wore their orange or wore their blue or whatever it was. They engaged with a game that, let's be honest, Kansas City is an anomaly. We have a ton of soccer, but across the states, soccer is not our top sport. So I don't know, man. There's so many positive memories. I think that all the things you mentioned are going to go down in history. And for Kansas City, it's the way that we showed up, the numbers we pulled. But for me, it's going to be the hat trick. It's going to be the Orange March for sure.
Right now, we're talking to Jillian Carroll. She covers the KC Current. She also did a lot of work with the World Cup down at FanFest. Are you hopeful, optimistic that Kansas City is going to get the Women's World Cup coming up in a couple of years?
You know I am, man. So obviously the World Cup for women is going to take place next year in Brazil. And obviously our U.S. women's national team is a favorite. They are phenomenal. They've already got 4 titles under their belt. But sure, fast forward to 2031, there's a collective bid. So United States, Costa Rica, Jamaica, and Mexico all are the only countries that have put in for the bid. So while it hasn't been announced, finalized, secured, nobody's challenging this joint bid. So let's just face it, we've got it, right? And between what we just pulled off in 2026 and just a continued growth and continued, I think, just desire to do big things, I think Kansas City's absolutely up there. I mean, I'm sure you saw all the tweets and stats about viewership and numbers at FanFest, numbers out at the actual matches. We proved our case where we're definitely a soccer city who deserves to be in the mix for big matches like the World Cup.
I feel like the biggest story with the KC Current, and tell me if I'm wrong, is all of the development that is happening in that part of the city and what the plans are around it. How optimistic are you about that? Is there a timetable of when we're going to actually see that?
Yeah, that's wild. There is so much more. I mean, first of all, let's just stop and pause and think about how much it has already changed, right? You and I grew up here. We never came down to the riverfront. Why would we, right? There was nothing to do down here. Now, there's already a plethora of things going on. The breweries are coming. Obviously, the stadium that puts our city on the map in a global kind of way, with the first ever stadium built for a women's pro team. But it is growing, and there are more things to come. The hotel is here. The apartments are well on the way. But I'm more excited about the entertainment district. So everything from retail to high-end restaurants to just ideal pre-game kind of tailgate-ish vibes. So, I mean, I'm thrilled for what's to come, but I'm already pretty damn happy with what we have, if I do say so myself. But things like, of course, the parking structure, the pedestrian bridge, all of those things will just add to the fan experience. But I'm extremely grateful for Angie Long, Chris Long, Brittany Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes for what they're doing and how much they're investing in this soon-to-be next entertainment district in our city. And I do think right off the water, it's going to be so cool. It's a unique opportunity with the stadium itself. I'm sure you've heard it's growing to over 18,000 seats now. We're only at 11.5 right now. So we'll go 18.5 and then some standing room as well. So everything is just growing, and it's just a good feeling. It's good to see. It's great to see a team who deserves this in many ways, not only because their play on the pitch, but just because women's sports deserve the level playing field. So I could go on, but yeah, very, very excited about what's to come.
That is Jillian Carroll joining us on the show. She's with the KC Current broadcast team. She did a lot of great work downtown during FanFest for the World Cup. Jillian, congratulations. We're happy for you here on the show. We'll catch up with you down the line.
Hey, thanks, man. Good to hear from you.
Absolutely. That is Jillian Carroll joining us on the show today. She is with the KC Current, and she was at World Cup and she was at FanFest. Rob, I would say one of the biggest sports changes that have happened in our city over the last 20 years is how Kansas City has embraced soccer. This is just not how it was when you and I were kids. I understand the Wiz, and they had a history, and I remember when they played at Arrowhead, went to a couple of games. But I feel like since they really rebranded themselves and built that beautiful stadium out in the Legends, just every day, they just been pouring more and more and more into soccer, that there absolutely has developed a soccer culture in Kansas City, and not just at the local team level, also at the international level, as I thought was pretty indicative of how Kansas City wrapped their arms around the World Cup the last couple of months.
With the Current specifically, I'm very excited. They're talking about moving to 18,000 and all those things. I think it's great for the city. I think the women's game coming here, all these things are great. I always worry about rapid expansion, though. Like, the KC Current Stadium is in its second year, and they're already announcing they're going to 18. I worry about moving too quickly. Like, when Sporting first opened their stadium, to what you're saying, there's always been talks of expanding Sporting Park. They've never done it. I'm leery of this explosion from 11 to 18 after 2 years of the Current. I'd love it to work, and I'm cheering for it to work, and I think it will work, but I'm always leery of a big expansion of the stadium that quickly.
Yeah, it does feel like keeping that venue small is probably the way to go and create a demand and a scarcity of tickets more so than trying to fit as many people in there as possible. It's been a little bit since I've been to a Current game. I really enjoyed the one game that I went to, but no, it's a really unique experience. It's a very fun experience. You can tell that everybody that was associated really cares about keeping it local and keeping that feel associated with it. So good luck to the Current. Certainly happy to celebrate them today, as we are joined by somebody that covers every single team. All right, if you missed it, we are going to play one cut from everybody that we had on today. We are going to talk about every local team in the 5 o'clock hour. So it doesn't matter if it's the Chiefs, if it's the Royals, or K-State football. We will talk about your favorite team coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Royals baseball. 96.5, The Fan. Here's your traffic report on 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by SWL Injury Law, the Car Crash Kings. It's what they do. Visit SWLinjurylaw.com.
Okay, big problem now coming out of downtown. 70 eastbound is closed just past 23rd for crash cleanup. Near the split, almost to Shawnee, 35 southbound at 635. Right lane is blocked. We've got a crash 435 northbound over just past 95th in the left lane. I'm Val with traffic on 96.5, The Fan.
When you've got real work to do, Metal Supermarkets will help you get it done fast. With a huge variety of metals in stock, we can help no matter what job comes your way. And all it takes is a few clicks. We make buying metal online easy so you can spend less time shopping and more time getting things done. Metal Supermarkets, the convenient stores for metal. Place an order online today at metalsupermarkets.com.
Pump up the volume. Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more. USPS, official shipping sponsor of the NHL.
When it comes to my policy, Farmers gives it to me straight, so there's no surprises.
It's your coverage. You should never be confused.
You hear that? An insurance provider with a conscience.
We're a choir, but yes, we have that too.
Straightforward coverage you can literally understand. That's what you get when
you have Farmers. Bum, ba, bum, 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 bum.
Learn more at farmers.com. Underwritten by Farmers Truck or Fire Insurance Exchanges or Affiliate. Products not available in every state.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose. And millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
Community Blood Center has declared a blood emergency as our community faces a critically low blood supply. The Chiefs, KC Current, Sporting KC, and the Royals are partnering to urge KC fans to donate blood. And thanks, donate now through July 19th to receive a We Bleed KC Stadium bag. While supplies last, let's get out and save some lives. Walk-in donations are available at any of our centers, or schedule an appointment online at savealifenow.org.
America is turning 250 this year, and Circus Sports is celebrating by offering all users in Missouri $250. Dane Hughes here, and for everyone in Missouri, all you have to do is deposit $250 on your Circus Sports app. Then play through that deposit. Once you do, Circus Sports will reward you with $250 right in your account. This is available for everyone in Missouri, new and existing users. Celebrate 250 years and find out more at circusports.com today. Must be 21 or older in Missouri. Gambling problem, call gambling.
Conservative, family man, author of The Bald Plan to Reduce Property Taxes. Listen to Scott Schwab.
Property taxes are killing Kansans, but one day it hit me. BALD.
BALD stands for Better Affordable Living by Decreasing Property Taxes. And it's the only detailed plan. Schwab's BALD plan means voter approval for property tax hikes, refunds for unfair assessments, and tax relief for seniors and working families. Listen to Scott Schwab.
I'm focused on reducing taxes for Kansans. You should keep more. My BALD plan makes sure of it. When I'm governor, we'll get it done.
Finally, a governor with a good head on his shoulders. Author of the BALD Plan to Decrease Property Taxes. Conservative Republican Scott Schwab for governor. Visit scottschwab.com/bald to learn more. Paid for by Schwab for Governor, Jim Felter, Treasurer.
Tonight, expect a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms with a low of 75.
Weather brought to you by Capital One. Capital One offers no fees or minimums on checking accounts. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank guide. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
NFL players, they just frustrate me. NFL players right now are doing a hashtag called Worth the Cost, because these NFL players are seeing that the NFL owners are willing to do things for FIFA that they have never shown an ability to do for them. So Caleb Williams is one of them. There's a couple of different ones. And they have a picture that says, why can't we have this too? They're using real natural grass to play these soccer games on. The NFL players have told us time and time again that's what they want. Adam Schefter puts out, NFL players are asking for the same commitment by team owners and FIFA for the World Cup fields to be made in prioritizing NFL players' preference to play on natural grass. I know that some of you don't care when we have these conversations and you only care about the games, but this is the analogy I'll make. I've told you guys this before. When your contract is up or when you're looking for a job, what you communicate to your employer and what you negotiate will determine to them what's most important to you. Maybe you want to work from home. Maybe you want 3-day weekends and you want off every single Friday. Maybe you want a bigger severance pay in case something happens. You determine that. NFL players communicated to the owners what was most important to them in their last negotiation. It was weed. That's what they cared about. They got tired of being suspended for it. They got tired of being fined for it. They really wanted to be able to smoke marijuana, and they wanted less practice time. Two very easy things to give the players. They don't cost the owners any money. It does not cost the owners any money to let you get high in your free time. Clark Hunt does not care if you were going to From the Earth, buying a pre-roll, going to home, and smoking it. Why does he care if, hey, you used to practice 2 days in pads, now you're just going to do 1? Doesn't hurt my bottom line. Them putting natural grass on the field costs them money. That's going to be a fight. NFL players have routinely shown us they're not willing to fight for these kind of things. So that's why they don't get it. That's why they'll send you to Brazil and have you play on those terrible fields. And you guys have been complaining about it for years. They don't care. So I want to be on their side. You guys know I always side with the players in these. No, you had a chance to communicate what was important to you guys in the CBA. And you got exactly what you wanted. You wanted a bigger piece of the pie, which you were always going to get because the owners wanted you to work more. Now, they might give it to you in the next CBA. You know what you're going to have to give up? That 18th game. You guys want natural grass field? Sure, we'll give it to you. You guys want to keep working? Because the NFL owners have laid out the strategy of what they want. Hey, we're going to keep pushing the Super Bowl back further and further and further. And we're going to make the season longer and longer. We want you to play in these international games. Yeah, I find it hard to feel sympathy for NFL players when it comes to this issue, when you had a chance to communicate this. Hey, we think that natural grass is really important to our players. We know that you have the means to do this. You do this for all of these. We want you to do that for us. If that was your number one sticking point, you would have got it. But that's not what you fought for. You fought for a bigger piece of the revenue, which you were going to get because you wanted to work more, and you didn't want to be tested for marijuana anymore. That's what you got. So I'm on the owner's side with this one. I don't know what reason the owners have other than to keep the players happy. I don't know if player happiness is their thing. Not when you got them playing on Monday, Wednesday, you got them playing in Australia. I mean, they're not even giving some teams bye weeks after international games. That's another thing that would have been non-negotiable to me. Hey, if you want us to go play football in Spain, I feel like the least you can do is give us the next week off. No, you better go to Spain, come back here, and you play on Thursday Night Football. You got to go make that money. So, no, I'm on the owner's side. I hate to be on the owner's side of this argument. But, no, I don't want to hear it, NFL players. Not at all.
Also, everything you're saying is accurate. I also don't think a strongly worded hashtag with a photo of grass is changing anyone's mind. I don't think Clark Hunt, we'll not use the Chiefs because they have turf. I don't think Stan Kroenke is sitting there watching them remove the turf from the stadium in LA right now, thinking to himself, Caleb Williams actually wants grass. So maybe I'll make the investment. He's thinking, tough break, get to work. The turf is cheaper on me anyway because I can have turf and I can have a concert and a football game in 1 week. The players aren't willing to actually fight for anything. They're just posturing like they're going to fight on social media.
Yeah, and someone just sent in, bro, I hate the way you try to throw shade at weed. I have made it very clear. I do not care what you do in your free time. If you smoke marijuana, great. I don't care. It's legal in Missouri. It does not bother me. I don't care. The only thing I throw shade at is in a negotiation with your employer, if the thing that you valued the most was not being tested for it at your job, I think your priorities are a little bit off. That's one of the easiest things that your job can give you if you're an NFL player. It's not a performance-enhancing drug. Nobody thinks that smoking weed helps you be a better football player. So I don't know why they were even testing at it in the beginning. So they were always going to get that. That's the only shade I throw at it. I don't care. I don't think we're naive enough to think that none of them are smoking weed. I think a lot of them are smoking weed. And I understand why they didn't want to be suspended. They were dinging you 4 games for smoking weed back in the day. If you got caught smoking weed during the combine time, it cost you millions of dollars. So I certainly understand. I ask anybody, tell me what the players got in their last negotiation other than relaxed policies on marijuana and less practice time. That's what they got. 2 things that do not cost the owners anything. And what do the owners get in return? They got more playoff teams and they got 1 extra regular season game. In contrast of it, it don't sound even to me. It don't sound even. Not at all in what they got in the negotiation. That's the only that's the only shade that I throw at it. That's it. I honestly, I do not care. I don't care what they do.
I'll say, to further the fleece comment, the NFL owners were more willing to give those 2 things up because pretty much immediately after, gambling money and streaming money came flowing in, which the players aren't, getting a larger piece of. But before a Thursday night game, if you want to smoke, go crazy.
Hey, I've said enough. You guys know where I stand on this one. I hate to be on the owner side of anything. I don't ever want to be on the man side.
You're about to be on the owner's side in back-to-back negotiations.
Yeah, that's real nasty work.
Wow.
What's happening with me? I'm on the owner's side in baseball and in the NFL. Oh man. Now I will say I'm not on the owner's side in basketball with the second apron. Does that count? I'm on the player side. There. But yeah, I don't know what to tell you, man. You had your chance to ask for it.
Except for you're on the owner's side when it comes to load management and forcing players to play. So
you had your chance. You asked your kid if they were hungry. They told you no. You're now at home like, oh, can we get McDonald's? No. You have to eat what's in the kitchen now. I don't know what to tell you. I drove past McDonald's. I called you and I asked you if you wanted a Happy Meal. You told me you didn't want a Happy Meal. Now I'm here. You better go eat that meatloaf that Mom cooked. I don't know what to tell you until tomorrow. That's my stance on when it comes to this. All right, Rob, do the read.
Your workday is over.
Oh, yeah.
You're headed home. And now you're stuck in traffic. Time to get caught up on the biggest stories in Kansas City and around the country with CDOT and Rob. It's time for the hits. Number 1.
Ken, the hits are brought to you by Jungle Law. Call the lawman today at Jungle Law, 816-816-9111. If you've been injured in a motor vehicle accident, it's time to call the lawman. And be sure to watch the lawman get roasted for a good cause. Saturday, August 1st, the historic Uptown Theater.
Maybe he's mad at me for saying this, but I hope he's not mad at me because I would consider him a friend even though I've never met him. Jungle Law has to smoke weed. Has to. No, there's no doubt in my mind. Have you seen those commercials? Have you seen his hair? He hangs out with a monkey. A monkey. He hangs out with one. You think you hang out with a monkey sober 100% of the time? I'm serious. You think you hang out with a monkey and you're not under the influence of anything? Has to smoke weed. I've never been more certain in my life of somebody that dabbles in it than Jungle Law, man. Not once. You go on his website right now, it's him and AI swinging through the jungle, and he has a pet monkey. He thinks he's Mowgli. Definitely smokes weed, 100%.
And if he was a lawyer for the players, they would have more than just smoking
weed together. That's what they be doing. He's smoking it together. All right, so this 5 o'clock hour is going to be a little bit different. I didn't plan on talking about the field, but the field, it does affect the Chiefs. Chiefs did a lot to accommodate FIFA over the last couple of years. They did a lot to accommodate them. I do understand the players like, hold on, why were you willing to do all this? But I get all that. We can move on, though. So today we had somebody on that covers every single team in the city, from the Royals all the way down to the current, we had somebody who covers every single team. So we had Jacob Milham on the show. We'll make this hit number 1. He's with Kings of Kaufman. I like him. Friend of the show. I asked him, who do you think is the most likely player to get moved at the deadline? He actually answered it a little bit differently. He doesn't think the Royals are trading Michael Wacha.
Rightfully so. They're focusing on 2027. But I don't think that they feel like they can compete in 2027 without Michael Wacha. You know, you look at that perspective, 2027 rotation starting opening day. Without Michael Wacha in it, you know, you get a step back from Seth Lugo, Cole Reagans isn't there, Chris Buvich isn't there. Like, they already have a starting pitching problem that they're going to need to address next season. Without Michael Wacha, well, that's one less reliable guy to round out the rotation. And I don't know, C-Dot. I really believe that they should move on right now. I don't think his trade value is going to be any higher than it is, and you're playing a dangerous game if he takes that regression in his age 36 season next year. Well, do you want to be left holding the buck if he takes a step back?
You know what? Can I defend the Royals a little bit? I mean, I'm walking a real dangerous path here. I'm pro owner and on the side of the Royals front office. It's not a place I want to be.
You also don't want to fire Q.
Yeah. Well, hold on. I never said that.
You don't think they will fire Q?
That's what I said.
That's fair.
I said,
my apologies.
Based on their track record, I don't think they're firing him. If they fire the manager, I will not own him. Like, man, he really got a raw deal. If Kansas fired Lance Lightpold today, I'd be like, man, what happened? He was doing a very good job at Kansas. This is odd. I wouldn't have fired him. If they fired Matt Cotrero, I'm not going to be like, oh, man, he was doing such a bang-up job. The way he turned things around. I would not say that. Back to Michael Wacha. I understand their position. He's still got a year and a half left on his deal. A year and a half. So I understand the Royals finishing out 2026, next season, seeing how it starts for them in 2027, and then asking the question at next year's trade deadline if we want to trade Michael Wacha. He's still got a year and a half left on the deal. I think you're looking at you trading more expiring contracts than a guy who is halfway through a 3-year deal that you just signed and is currently an all-star. So I get it. I understand if you're on the other side of the argument. I don't know if there is a right answer to this conversation, but I will not be upset if in 3 weeks Michael Wacha is on the team and that's the strategy that they have. We have him under contract for 2027. It's $14 million. He's an all-star. It's the final year of the deal. If you need to press the escape button and trade him at the deadline, someone will very happily pick up $7 million of Michael Wacha plus a club option on the back half of that. If you really want to go pick up Michael Wacha, I think he's somebody that will keep his trade value. I'm not mad if they keep him through the deadline.
I won't be mad. I don't want to say I'll be angry. I'm not going to be, throwing stuff around Bobby Knight frustrated. But I think the Royals have to be very real about where they are. I don't think they're a piece away from going from a 90-loss team to a 90-win team. I understand they've had some really bad injury luck this year, and players they banked on did not play to expectation. I get all those things. But they are not just status quo and one big swing in free agency away from, oh man, they're the AL Central favorites.
Let me cut you off here just a bit. I wanted you to finish. The White Sox won 60 games last year. They won 41 games the year before. They are currently, at the All-Star break, leading their division. So I don't disagree with your saying. It's not likely that you go from where the Royals are to now you make one move and you win 90 games. But in the division that the Royals are in, where the White Sox are leading the division, Cleveland is a little bit over 500. It looks like the Tigers could end up trading their best pitcher over the course of the next couple of weeks. Who knows what you have with the Minnesota Twins? I understand the Royals feeling like they are still in it in 2027. This year has gone poorly. We don't got to disagree on that point. But you make a trade, you actually go and make some real free agent moves and really shake some things up a little bit. I don't question if the Royals can be competitive in 2027 or not. I think that's a realistic expectation for them.
I think they can be competitive, but I think they need to understand the major difference between them and the White Sox last year is the White Sox have one of the best farm systems in baseball. People thought these young guys are going to come up and they're going to have an impact. The Royals farm system is all at single A right now, which means they are not making an impact in 2027. So you need to find ways to have impactful players on the team next year. And with a lockout looming, I don't know you're going to go on a spend-a-palooza in February. So you have to be forward thinking, and I would be pro trading Michael Wacha. Again, I won't be upset if they don't, but I think you have to at least entertain the notion more so now than other off seasons because of what's coming.
But I don't know, and I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I also don't know if you can plan for the next CBA without knowing what the next CBA is. I know it's a different sport, but in basketball, if I told you 12 months ago that the Celtics were going to trade Jaylen Brown because the salary cap radically changed, you probably would have told me that I was crazy. But that's what they ended up doing. A couple of these moves happened because the CBA changed and the salary cap changed. So I don't know what the salary cap looks like. What if for next baseball season, baseball has the philosophy, hey, any team that's over $250 million right now, you need to be under $250 million by X date. Some good teams are going to have to cut some players and move some things around in order to make it work for the salary cap. So I do understand, hey, let's keep the guys that we know are a part of our foundation, that we know want to be here, and then let's see how the offseason handles itself. Because you and I both agree, the floor is going to be raised, so that's going to change things. What you were able to get for 1 year's $2 million now might be 1 year's $7 million because those teams have to spend more money. But the teams at the top might also be restricted in what they can do in free agency, and they can't go on a spend-a-palooza because they're already over the cap.
That is a really good point that the Royals are, in all baseball, the Royals are unique, are kind of in no man's land because you don't know what the CBA will be. I will say this, though, about the Royals, and I think Michael Wacha falls into this, under this umbrella. If they are going to rehab the roster fast and go back to being competitive next year, they need to make a trade that hurts in some form or fashion.
And that trade is probably Vinny Pasquantino.
That trade's probably Vinny Pasquantino. But if you're telling me you're trading Michael Wacha, a guy with a sub-4 ERA, I think his ERA is still sub-3.5 right now, who has multiple years of club control as a starting pitcher, and you're going to get a bounty in July, and you're going to sell me on that's the trade that hurts, I'm fine with that. But it can't be status quo operating on the fringe in 2027. It needs to be me and you during Chiefs and Charger week are hitting the breaking news sounder saying, can you believe the Royals moved on from player X? That is a massive shift in the organization. They need to maybe move on from one of their prospects in that world. They need to do something that shakes up the status quo, and I think this is opportunity for that at the trade deadline with Michael Wacha.
You think I would stop talking about the Chargers because of Royals news?
That's fair.
So you think we could be mid Justin Herbert conversation, and you tell me that the Royals traded Vinny Pasquantino and that we're stopping to talk about Justin Herbert to talk about that topic? You don't know me well enough then.
Hold on. Yesterday you told me you're off the Chargers. You're all on Denver.
I got to be on brand.
You want to start going by Bo Nix dot?
No, come on now. I don't want to be on that.
Cortland dot.
I like that one. Cortland dot. Colorado dot. Colorado dot.
Don't be joining my Cortland Sutton love affair. That's
you can have that. You can have Cortland Sutton if that's who you want. If you want Cortland Sutton, you can have him. I don't want him. All right, so we're going in order of how we had people on the show today. Rob, when was the last time that we had a Sporting Kansas City interview on the show?
About the team or just in general? Because we had Peter from Esau once the World Cup went to Kansas City, but it had nothing to do with Sporting
Kansas City. When was the last time that I asked someone a question about Sporting Kansas City?
I don't know. You've done it since I came.
It's been a long time. It's been a long time. We had Daniel Sperry on the show, and we asked him if he believes in the new leadership with Sporting Kansas City.
Peter Maluk is not just the owner of the future for Sporting, but the owner of the future for MLS and kind of the next generation of owners of guys who have deep, deep pockets, that are willing to invest heavily in trying to bring the best players here and bring higher quality in, invest more in the roster, kind of loosen up the purse strings a little bit in comparison to what we think for pro leagues here in the U.S. and some of the better leagues in the world in soccer, and being able to compete for players in the same financial ballpark. And so I think, like I said, it's excitement about where things are headed. And I just think an influx of cash is going to obviously do that for anybody, but ultimately it kind of boils down to whether or not you spend it right and the right people are in charge to get it in the right place. I've talked to a lot of people from around the league that have passed through Kansas City since during the World Cup, and a lot of them have been very quick to point out that David Lee is the right guy for it. I think he's been making some good moves so far. I think he's done a good job of finding value and production in the players that he has brought in. And so the next piece of that is what happens with the big ones.
Sporting Kansas City, they're bad. I don't know much about it. I could name one person on the team. They still got our guy Jake Davis.
They do have Jake Davis.
I like him. We like him on this show. I can't tell anybody else, but I know we like him. They're bad. Which is really disappointing because, honestly, and you guys might laugh at this, Sporting's one of the better experiences of going to a game. It has a Royals baseball kind of feel to it. Like you're outside. If the weather's good, it's open air. It's kind of got that feel to it. Soccer is much more enjoyable in person than it is on television. You feel really close to the field and the action. I really enjoy going to sporting games, but I really enjoy going to sporting games when everybody at the game is really into it. That's what makes it fun and very different than any of the other experiences outside of a Chiefs game. It has that, hey, the people here really care about the game, and this game feels like it really matters. And that's not the vibe that Sporting is giving off right now. So I certainly hope they can turn it around for all of our sake. The sporting community, no pun intended, is better when Sporting Kansas City is good, but that is just my outside looking in perception on how things are going over there for Sporting Kansas City.
I mean, I don't want to get too nerdy in soccer here, but there was a time where it did not matter what was happening in the city. Sporting KC would have a near sellout. They had, we talk about how soccer is a niche sport. They had really carved out, they were very wealthy in that niche.
They were the niche sport to go to.
Now, watch the game, their next home game. Throw it on Apple TV. You will see the words Sporting in open seats plastered across the other side.
Yeah.
It looks like KU football in 2016. It's bad. Now,
I'm happy you made that joke, and I didn't make that joke.
It was right there. It's a layup. I had to take it.
I mean, I didn't want to make that joke, because if I had made that joke, you'd be mad. You'd be ready to fight. So I'm happy that you made it.
I mean, I could have taken it looked like the Kim Anderson Mizzou.
Oh, no. Now you got to switch up.
I took the high road. But I'm happy new ownership is investing. I'm happy they're trying to get the fans back. Obviously, at the end of the day, winning will bring fans back. But it is really sad that what was once a very fun time and a lively atmosphere and something people wanted to go do is now we know someone with season tickets in the building. He can't give them away. No one's going to those games.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when Sporting Kansas City, you got Sporting Kansas City tickets? They was like a 1587 prime reservation. You got a reservation tonight to 1587? Now they doing, hey, if you can prove to us you've never been to a sporting game, we'll let you in for free. What a far cry from what it used to be back in the day. Honestly, I mean this. They're not paying me at all. Now, a penny to say this to you guys. If you haven't taken them up on that first game offer, you definitely should. If you've got a kid and, you just want to kind of introduce them to sports, I would take them to a Sporting Kansas City game at some point this summer, especially if they're going to give you the tickets to go out there. I'm pretty sure it's free to park at Sporting, right? So it's free to park at Sporting, and they're going to give you the tickets for free? Yeah, I highly encourage you to check out a Sporting Kansas City game if you've never been, even if they're the 2007 Royals right now of the MLS. All right, we'll keep this conversation going. We had one guest on that covers every team in the city. We're going through it now. Keep it right here, it's The Drive.
Your off-season home for everything Chiefs football.
Talking about the top story, the Chiefs, they have a new offensive coordinator.
96.5, The Fan.
Honey, did you invite the Minions over?
Well, you know how we talked about getting Wi-Fi from Xfinity?
Yeah. I ordered it this morning, was online in minutes, then they showed up.
So they just came over to use the Wi-Fi? For what?
Better not to know.
Get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi from Xfinity. Plus, lock in your price for 5 years and see Minions and Monsters only in theaters. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Learn more at xfinity.com/same-day Wi-Fi.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods. Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
And the match is about to begin.
Most of the team is out with COVID-19, so there'll be some substitutes tonight.
What's this? We have an unexpected guest on the field.
It's a dog. Well, they could do with extra players.
She's going for the ball.
Are front paws hands or feet?
Soccer season is full of surprises, and COVID-19 could be one of them. If you test positive, prescription medications may help. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Learn more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Baseball season is in full swing, and you can trade every game over on Kalshi. On Kalshi, you trade every game, futures, and even the all-star events. For instance, maybe you're thinking about, well, I want to figure out who's going to take home the trophy. Maybe you like Milwaukee to do so. A $100 trade over on Kalshi right now could net you a $1,068 payout. Those are the kind of things you can do over there on Kalshi because over there you're trading against a person in a live market, meaning there is no house, and the probability changes. You can buy in and out of your position depending on what position of yours you like. And for a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P, to get $10 when you trade 10. K-A-L-S-H-I, Kalshi, trade on anything. 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, visit kalshi.com/regulation.
Hi, I'm Michaela, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. You found your dream engagement ring. As a jewelry consultant, I recommend to start shopping for your wedding band 6 months before your big day. Don't worry. At Shane Company, we're here to help you find the perfect bands. Our men's and women's bands are crafted to high-quality standards, and it shows in every detail, with a stylish design and comfortable fit. At Shane Company, we'll take care of your engagement ring and wedding bands for life, because a friend wants you to say, I do, to your rings again and again. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
And the match is about to begin.
Most of the team is out with COVID-19, so there'll be some substitutes tonight.
What's this? We have an unexpected guest on the field.
It's a dog. Well, they could do with extra players.
She's going for the ball.
Are front paws hands or feet?
Soccer season is full of surprises, and COVID-19 could be one of them. If you test positive, prescription medications may help. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Learn more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Here's your traffic report on 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by SWL Injury Law, the Car Crash Kings. It's what they do. Visit SWLInjuryLaw.com.
Big backups from the crash near Gardner, south of there. 35 northbound past Sunflower. A right lane is blocked. 2-car crash before that near Olathe. 35 southbound at Lone Elm. That's the left lane that's blocked. Okay, we've got 70 eastbound still closed. Okay, past 23rd as crash cleanup continues. I'm Val with traffic on 96.5 The Fan.
Welcome to your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
We're back. All right, we're going through this. We had a guest on that covers every team today. We would have got this done probably all in the first half of the 5 o'clock hour, but we were talking about the natural grass fields, and that kind of distracted us a little bit. We had Joshua Briscoe on the show earlier today, and we asked him what's his biggest concern for the Chiefs heading into the season. Here was his answer.
And I think my biggest question is still probably at defensive end. I love what they did at tackle, so you have to kind of separate those. Again, the entire defensive tackle room I actually think is really exciting. But when you go back to it, Felix Uzama has the second most NFL defensive snaps of any defensive end on this roster. He's well behind George Karlaftis, but in his first 2 seasons, he played a little bit more than Ashton Gelati played last year. I think Gelati is still your likely starter, and then you need R. Mason Thomas to be involved relatively early on. But I don't want to assume that R. Mason Thomas is going to have 5 sacks as a rookie, because I don't really know how that picture is going to come together there. So, FAU needs to take on a role this year. And we talked last year before he ended up on IR. We weren't sure that he was going to make the roster before he ended up being out for the season. And now I think he's closer to the 3rd or 4th defensive end on this roster than he is to the bubble, because there just aren't guys behind him that have really shown anything at an NFL level. So I think that pass rush off the edge in particular it's okay to expect more from Karlaftis if he's healthier this year. Dealing with the hand last year was definitely a real factor, but it's a lot of weight on Ashton Gelati's shoulders, and then it's a lot of projection for Felix and R. Mason Thomas.
I am open to this possibility. Maybe this was 4 or 5 years ago. I was real worried about corner. And you guys kept telling me to not be worried about corner. And then the season started. And you guys ended up being right. You guys started calling me corner dot. Now, I also don't think I was wrong. The guy I wanted them to go get turned out to be an all-pro that year on a 1-year deal. So I think we both ended up being right. Maybe this is one of those situations. I think defensive end is by far and away their biggest concern heading into the season. I think it will be a problem at some point throughout the course of the year. That's why I've been big on go get Cam Jordan, go get Jadeveon Clowney, go get Joey Bosa, go make a Von Miller kind of move. I want them to go pick up another bookend. We'll see if they do that between now and the start of the season. Continuing our journey, we had Derek Young, who covers Kansas State, on the show earlier today, and we asked him what are his expectations for Wildcat football.
Funny, because each of the last 3 years since Kansas State won that Big 12 title in 2022, they were basically picked to return to go back to Arlington and play for a Big 12 title, and each of 2023, 2024, and 2025, but didn't, with the worst year being last year, where they were barely bowl eligible by the finish of the season. So I do think it's kind of back to business. Part of that is because I do think the program is kind of steered in the right direction once again after getting a little bit stale towards the end of the Chris Kleiman era. But I think maybe even a bigger component of that, I don't know if anyone's looked at the Kansas State football schedule this year. It's not exactly a murderer's row. Everyone's laughing at the Texas Tech schedule. Kansas State's is pretty similar, to be quite honest. So if they weren't to reach 8 wins, it would probably be viewed as a pretty disappointing season once again.
All right, let's take a real quick look at the K-State schedule for this football season and see what Derek Young is talking about. All right, Rob.
It's soft.
The non-con. Nichols, Washington State, Tulane. Hey, why they got Washington State playing 11 a.m. kick in Manhattan, Kansas? Hey, come on now. That ain't right. That's one of the cruelest things we've ever done to a school. A 9 a.m. kick as a Pac-12 school? You couldn't give them one?
9 a.m. local time. Get out there.
Goodness gracious. Tulane's not bad.
They just lost their coach.
That's not bad, though. Tulane's a pretty consistent group of 5 school. I mean, that can't be the crown jewel of your non-con, but Tulane's not bad.
I mean, They have a first-year head coach who was the offensive passing game coordinator last year for Tulane. So, like, it's possible they're still a good group of 5. It's also possible they're in fast regression.
Look it up real quick while we play another piece of audio. I'd love to hear what K-State's odds are to make the college football playoff. They play Nichols, Washington State, at Cincinnati, who just lost their quarterback, Houston, Kansas, at Arizona State, at Colorado, Oklahoma State, at TCU, Arizona, Iowa State. What's their toughest conference game? Is it Iowa State?
Probably Houston.
That's a home game, though.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of highlights.
Iowa State also lost their coach.
But K-State to make the college football. Oh, that's national championship odds. Hold on, let me scroll down.
That's plus 10,000.
That's a lot bigger number.
I'm gonna guess plus 260.
Plus 1,000
to make the college football playoff. They got more than a 10-1 chance of winning making the college football playoff. They got more than a 10-1 chance. They got more than a 10-1 chance of winning the Big 12.
They had Big 12 championship plus 1,400.
Yeah. I mean, if they win the Big 12 championship, then they're going the college football playoff. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
you might as well just take them to win that then. You might as well just take them at 14-1 then. Yeah, that schedule is light. Especially if Avery's really good this year, they got a chance to really be a wild card. A real wild card. They should be undefeated heading into that Kansas game.
Yes.
They should be undefeated.
At the worst, they've taken one loss to Houston.
Yeah, they should be undefeated heading into that Kansas game. And then you got to navigate at Arizona State, at Colorado, at TCU, 3 road games in 4 weeks. But you can be undefeated in the middle part of the season if you're K-State. All right, that's Kansas State football. Let's get to Missouri football. We had Aaron Benedict Arnold Ladd on the show earlier today.
I think that's in the mindset of still treating this as a sports injury, though. This is not a sport injury. I mean, there's a wide range, there's a wide spectrum on getting shot and your recovery timeline on what happened. Look, I think it's been intentional on their part, trying to kind of hide what's happening here. I mean, it's the SEC. Gamesmanship happens on both ends, on the field and behind. But I'm tempered expectations. It sounds like you're expecting him to be out there by the Kansas game. I would say later in the season. If he was back by the SEC season, I think it's a win.
I mean, I have no clue on Ahmad Hardy. None of the Missouri people even know. Like, usually somebody would kind of give me a, hey, this is what's going on with Ahmad Hardy. I haven't really heard any of that. I'm kind of using the Brian Robinson Jr., but also I don't know where he was shot either. So that kind of changes things as well with him. Brian Robinson Jr. started playing football 6 weeks later, played in a NFL game 6 weeks later after an attempted robbery. So we'll see what happens with Ahmad Hardy. That's obviously going to be, I think it's the biggest local college football story heading into the season. A Heisman hopeful, potential preseason first team running back is potentially out because he got shot at leaving a concert over the course of the summer. Rob, I love when a plan comes together. Let's leave Kansas football for last. I asked our KU guest what happens if KU only wins 5 games. Here's what he said.
I think it'd be pretty disappointing, and I'm not super high on this team, candidly, just because I think there's a lot of question marks. The quarterback situation, to me, is going to be interesting to kind of see how it plays out. I think there's going to be some level of Lance Leipold on the hot seat if he isn't already, but really some level of you can't have 3 straight 5-win seasons when you have $300 million invested in David Booth Memorial Kansas Stadium renovations. And I think Kansas fans would be very, very disappointed, but I think this could be a rebuilding year this year, just because I think quarterback play is going to be up and down.
Up and down might be even being friendly to it.
They don't have a starter right now. They haven't announced one.
Maybe I'm being a little too hard on Cole Ballard and the kid can actually play. Let's find out if he can play or not. Who's the other kid you guys got?
There's a 3-star redshirt sophomore from Michigan named Isaiah Marshall they like.
Okay.
But
they must have got him in the portal then.
No, he was a recruit. He doesn't have the world's strongest arm. He's more of a runner.
It's not good.
I'm not comparing him to this person, but you know how he's L. Roberson-ish.
Okay.
Run around, make plays guy.
I don't think there's now just looking at their 24/7 pages, it's not close in who the better prospect is.
Correct.
It's Isaiah Marshall.
Yeah. Cole Ballard was a walk-on, if you'll remember. 24/7 and rivals.
So Marshall should be the starter. Then he should win the job.
The fact he hasn't taken the job is why people would be concerned.
Goodness. Maybe he's taken it and they just haven't told you, which is possible.
Very possible. Gamesmanship galore in college football.
If Isaiah Marshall loses out on this job to Cole Ballard, he should transfer to Pitt State.
I think he will transfer.
No, to Pitt State.
Eastern Michigan, here I come. Pitt State.
You're not hearing me. To Pitt State. To Washburn is where he needs to go. You can't beat out Cole Ballard? Yeah, man. You got to hit that portal, big dog. You got to go play in the MIAA. You got to go play at CMSU. You got to go play at Emporia State. It might be over for you. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for K-State athletics. 96.5 The Fan. You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Honey, did you invite the minions over?
Well, you know how we talked about getting Wi-Fi from Xfinity?
Yeah.
I ordered it this morning, was online in minutes, then they showed up.
So they just came over to use the Wi-Fi? For what?
Better not to know.
Get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi from Xfinity. Plus, lock in your price for 5 years and see Minions and Monsters only in theaters. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Learn more at xfinity.com/same-day Wi-Fi.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers. If you want a real deal, try Tide Pods. Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Back to school starts now. Get long-lasting battery life on the Dell XPS laptop powered by Series 3 Intel Core so you can work from anywhere. Now starting at $699 with exclusive student pricing starting at $599. Complete your setup with savings on select monitors and must-have electronics and accessories. Limited time deals and free shipping on PCs and more await you at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
What do parents think of back to school at Staples, where 24-pack Crayola crayons are just 50 cents?
Staples has folders, notebooks, and pens at great prices.
I'm smiling from ear to ear.
It's the most wonderful time.
Mom, I missed the bus of the year.
It's a wonderful time at Staples, where school supplies start at just 25 cents. Staples. That was easy. Visit your local Staples today or shop online and in the app. Ends 9/12. Exclusions apply.
At Farmers, our honesty is contagious.
Wait, am I going to catch honesty?
Well, when you're with Farmers, it's kind of inevitable.
Well, how long does it take to... I lied to you when you asked if I knew what a deductible was. I don't know my dad's birthday, and I thought umbrella policies were for rainstorms. Actual rainstorms. I have it, don't I?
You don't just have honesty.
You have Farmers. Bum, ba, bum, 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 bum.
Learn more at farmers.com. Underwritten by Farmers Truck or Fire Insurance Exchanges or Affiliate. Products not available in every state.
Conservative, family man, author of The Bald Plan to Reduce Property Taxes. Listen to Scott Schwab.
Property taxes are killing Kansans, but one day it hit me. BALD.
BALD stands for Better Affordable Living by Decreasing Property Taxes. And it's the only detailed plan. Schwab's BALD plan means voter approval for property tax hikes, refunds for unfair assessments, and tax relief for seniors and working families. Listen to Scott Schwab.
I'm focused on reducing taxes for Kansans. You should keep more. My BALD plan makes sure of it. When I'm governor, we'll get it done.
Finally, a governor with a good head on his shoulders. Author of The Bald Plan to Decrease Property Taxes. Conservative Republican Scott Schwab for governor. Visit scottschwab.com/bald to learn more. Paid for by Schwab for Governor, Jim Felter, Treasurer.
Back to school starts now. Get long-lasting battery life on the Dell XPS laptop powered by Series 3 Intel Core so you can work from anywhere. Now starting at $699 with exclusive student pricing starting at $599. Complete your setup with savings on select monitors and must-have electronics and accessories. Limited time deals and free shipping on PCs and more await you at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Hey, it's Bobby Witt Jr., and you're listening to the home of the Royals, 96.5 The Fan.
Here's your traffic report on 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by SWL Injury Law, the Car Crash Kings. It's what they do. Visit SWLinjurylaw.com.
Coming out of downtown, 70 eastbound just past 23rd for crash cleanup. We've got the crash in Overland Park. Southbound 35 as you approach 69 in the right lane. Two-car crash 35 southbound at Lone Elm in the left lane. I'm Val with traffic on 96.5 The Fan.
You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on 96.5 The Fan and the Odyssey app.
Rob, this has nothing to do with anything we've been talking about today, but this is honestly the least listened to show or the segment of the whole week. It's the last segment on Friday. Like, you're already home by now. Like, you're done with the show. I can get my question off. Rob, have you ever hate watched a show to completion? Like, you started a show, you've made such an investment in the show, you don't like the direction of it, but you've just determined that you were going to finish.
Yes, probably many a time if I'm really thinking about it. There's several shows where I'm like, I'm finishing because I've started, but it's a slog.
Yeah, there's some shows. There was a show I watched.
House of Cards was that way, by the way.
Yeah, I didn't watch the last season of House of Cards. I tried, so I stopped whenever all the Kevin Spacey stuff. And then I got up to the end of where Spacey wasn't going to be on there anymore. I was like, I'm not enjoying watching this anymore. Like, I don't like Frank. I don't like Claire. I don't like the storylines anymore. I'm out on this. So it
was bad before he left.
I went through that last season before. That last season with Kevin Spacey is not an enjoyable show to me. It's not fun. So I put up a YouTube video and I just watched the 20-minute, here's the last season of House of Cards. I learned what happened and that was the end of it.
I pushed through and I really regretted it.
Somebody said Dexter was that show for them. There's a show I'm watching right now. It's called The Chi. That's how I feel. Every Friday, I hate, there's only 2 more episodes left in the show though. There's 2 more. So I'm just like, all right, I just got to get through these next 2 Fridays and I'm out. I don't got to watch it anymore. I can't wait to be done with this show.
House of the Dragon might be coming that quickly for me, too.
I know a lot of people that like this season.
The first 2 episodes are fire. It has taken a significant drop since
I know people that like this season so far. I haven't seen it yet. This is like the first time I've been able to kind of breathe a little bit. I got no Love Island to watch, no World Cup. Like, this was the first time, like, you want to know, I watched Goodfellas this week. You know, I'll never watch movies that long. I love Goodfellas, too. I mean, I've seen it a bunch, but I watched it again. I was like, man,
it
feels kind of good.
Or is it like, hey, you did something else I was on?
Yeah. No, I sat down and watched it.
Westworld. I quit on Westworld. I love season 1 of Westworld, but I hate it.
I might watch that Obsession that's on Peacock.
Yeah. The new movie. That's a movie, right?
Yeah. I've seen people talk about it. There's like a lot of movies, if I told you recently, like, oh, I haven't seen that, you'd be like, man, I can't believe that. But I don't know. I got kind of behind on movies, and then I just was like, oh, I just missed it. But today feels like a good movie night for me. I'm certainly not watching Royals Padres.
Cape Fear is a show I just started on Apple. Yeah, Padres and Royals is not for me tonight.
I need to watch, there's a documentary on Netflix, Maternal Instinct.
Oh, yeah, yes.
I need to watch that.
My wife watched that. She loved it.
Yeah, I had it set up to watch while I was on the plane going to Vegas, and I didn't download it correctly, so I couldn't watch it, so I ended up just playing Uno on my phone the whole time, but I don't know what happened. Someone on the text line got an automated message. I'll reply to him. I don't want to read this to everybody.
I'm gonna say that just.
Sometimes I'll be doing this. I'll just be thinking out loud.
You can reply to them. It is.
Yeah, he's
mad. He's big.
Yeah,
mad.
there's like certain trigger words.
Yeah. By the way, someone on the text line says, "Go see the Odyssey." I've seen the Odyssey. The Odyssey is very good.
Give your review.
The Odyssey is very good. It is long. It is long. there are times where it feels long. And that, I think you could have trimmed it down by 15 to 20 and we all would have been fine.
Yeah, that's most movies.
It got to 250. That's too much.
And you were like, yeah, we've done a lot here.
A little humble brag. We get invited to movie screeners.
Oh, here you go. I love this.
They start without a trailer. It's just movie start and there's no anything. It's just start to finish. Movie start at 7. Just start. Boom. Movie's on. I'm walking in the theater and it's 9:58. That's too long to be in the theater. It's too much. But the acting, Anne Hathaway is superb. Matt Damon is superb. The story's great. Great movie. You got to really dedicate yourself the time to go see it. Because if you're going to add trailers and all the stuff, it's long.
Are you going to the Spider-Man on Monday?
Yes, I'll be in Spider-Man on Monday.
Can we let's email her and see if she'll give us tickets we can give away on the show. Can we do that for the people?
I don't know what we can and can't do anymore with giveaways.
I would just, let's get them and then we'll figure it out. Let's figure it out. I imagine you guys would be interested if we just had free passes to give away to go see the Spider-Man movie, and then you can just go see it on us. Go see it on the drive. Go see it on your people.
I don't miss. Oh no way! I'm moving next week. I'm not going to the screener, but I am seeing the movie. That's, I guess.
Oh, you're not doing the Monday?
I can't do the Monday.
Man,
don't move. Let me tell you a little tidbit. If you ever think to yourself, man, you know what sounds fun? Moving houses. It's not. Zero fun is being had.
No, I'm with you. I gotta. This is the first free weekend I kind of had in a while too, so I'm kind of excited for
World Cup final though.
Yeah, I mean I'll watch it. I'll watch the World Cup final. I'm interested in it, I mean, especially because I have a bet on one of the teams to win the whole thing.
Also, you dedicated so much time at this point.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Should I hedge or should I just ride out Spain?
Ride out. I think Spain's going to win 2-0.
Oh wow, you got a 2-0.
I got it looking a lot like the France game. They are a defensive behemoth.
Someone said watch Off Campus on Prime. What is Off Campus? I've seen the, you know how like I've seen it on the home screen, but I don't know what it is.
I have not seen Off Campus.
What's Off Campus? Hold on, let's look it up.
Heated Rivals is the hockey one, right?
Yeah, that is. Hold on, let me read this. This is now interesting to me. A college-set romantic drama chronicling the unexpected love story between a music student and the university star hockey player. Yeah, I don't know if I'm watching. I don't know if I'm. It's got a 7.9 on IMDb. You know I'm an IMDb. All right, hold on. I gotta apologize to you. My bad. 7.9 on IMDb is intriguing. That's interesting. I can watch an episode of that. All right, we'll catch up with you guys on Monday. Take care of yourself. Baseball is back in Kansas City. You know what? Until then, I'll let Daniel Craig take you home.
Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.
You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
I mean, come on, guys. What are we doing here?
On your home for Chiefs football.